Yo! Da 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 da. Da da da. And we're live. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to VKH Live. I'm your host, Jeff DeWitt. Got with me on the Skypes two special guests that you guys are probably pretty familiar with by now. We've got Winona, who is actually, I don't know if I should introduce her yet. I'm not sure if she's by Skype. Winona, are you there?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I am. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was like, I'm not so special. I'm not such a special guest. I'm a regular guest.
Yeah. Well,
regular host.
You're okay. Well, you just we can just expect a bunch of your special Winonas in the chat now. So.
Oh God.
Also joining us is Lori from V-Star. How are you doing, Lori?
Hey everybody, I'm doing pretty good. I hope everyone's having a nice night. I think most of the listeners are from America, right? So
yeah.
Time
Well, we
zone.
have actually a pretty decent global following too.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll night's a pretty good word for it. Let's just hope nobody tweets us and is like, it ain't nighttime, bitch. Like, I think we're all right.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Yeah.
I guess, to everybody listening.
We usually have someone from Japan watching us. At least one person. We usually at least have one person in either the EU or the UK. But for the most part, I would say, it's the States or North America. Yeah, so for anybody who's new, welcome. This is VKH Live. It's a streaming series that's put on by our website, VKH Press, and we cover J-Rock and Visual K music, Japanese rock and Visual K music, for those of you who aren't familiar. You can check us out at vkh-press.com. We have all kinds of links to interesting things that we do in the description of this video. You can support us on Patreon. You can super chat us on Streamlabs. You can join us on Discord. You can join a group that we're involved in along with Lori on Facebook. All kinds of fun things like that. And also Lori's in our Discord as well. So,
yep.
But with all that out of the way, Lori, would you like to give a quick plug for V-Star promotion?
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure most of the people here at the moment already are pretty well aware, but for those who aren't, I'm Lori from V-Star Promotion. We work with a lot of bands, including, well, probably most well-known, Rise and Rebellion, Viva Rush, Deviloff, Morrigan, so and so. We work with a lot of the younger bands, or bands that we see that have potential, and kind of build them up and make them more accessible to the international market.
Yes. Day's very cool people, very cool things she's got going on there. Do you have any of your artists and anything going on you want to plug? Maybe the Viva Rush PV that has subtitles since the last time you were on?
Yep. So currently, we recently did a live reaction streaming for the Viva Rush PV Gang March that has now got English subtitles, so you can check that out. And also on the topic of Viva Rush, they have a birthday live today because it's Rimaru's birthday. So go on Twitter, give him a happy birthday, etc., etc. And later on tonight or today, depending on what time zone you are on, you can also go onto their Facebook page and catch the live stream of their concert. So definitely worth checking out. For Rise and Rebellion, moving on to a different band, they've just announced the release of 2 new mini albums, Artery and Vein.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's gonna be worth keeping an eye out on.
That's awesome. Sorry, I had to switch out my earbuds real quick. These wonderful Apple AirPods die really fast, apparently.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Best brando.
Yeah. Ironically, they still might be. But
Oh God.
I will definitely look forward to the new Rides and Rebellion mini albums for sure. Okay, so tonight's topic is going to be baby bands. So
All the babes.
all the baby boys and the baby bands.
All the baby boys, BIOIZ, right?
Yeah, so we announced this a few days out, and I didn't really define baby band just because I just wanted to put it out there and just see what everybody's reaction was, and the general reaction, everybody kind of seemed to have a general understanding of what was meant by that. So that actually worked out pretty well. Basically, for us, like when we refer to baby bands, at least for me personally, it's any or all of the following. It's either a band with like a small following, like a small underground following, or they're a young band, or a older band that's had a significant concept or rebranding that is still very young, or just a band with a very limited catalog, or a limited activity, a limited amount of like very infrequent activity. Like maybe they only have a few singles and a few concerts every few years, that kind of thing. It's kind of a you'll know it when you see it kind of thing, like most tiny indie bands you've never heard of that you find, from a friend sharing on Facebook or something, or on Twitter. You would think like, oh, this must be a baby band, as opposed to when Alice 9 rebranded to A9 and went from a major band to an indie band. Maybe not quite baby band is the best name for it. Does that sound about right for everybody else on the call?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, maybe because of my experience, it's a little bit different. But like I said, I just have a different experience with it all.
Oh, okay. What would yours be?
So, for example, for me, a baby band tends to be a band with members that don't have much experience in the industry yet, or a band that has just newly formed who are all younger and don't have, like most of them don't have experience. So, for example, when I first started working with Rides and Rebellion, most of their members only had a little bit of experience from their previous band, Black September, or in Nagisa's case, Unrealistic. But they were all still really young, and their experience, although they had it, was quite limited. So for a while, I kind of thought of them as a baby band, but I wouldn't consider them a baby band anymore because although they're still an indie band, they've got a lot more experience and they've got a lot more history behind them now. And if, God forbid, they ever disbanded and went in different directions, I wouldn't, it really depends on the situation, but I would most likely not consider any new band of the members a baby band because of their current experience.
Yeah, that was you can keep going. I'll wait.
It's the same like with Viva Rush. I don't consider them a baby band, even though they're still like relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but they do have a lot of experience behind them. Whereas some of you may know, apart from the promotion I do, I also do a lot of photography. I primarily do concert photography, but sometimes to help out newer bands, I also do artist photography. So I offer a cheaper price to the bands that are new and starting out, just to give them like a bit of help. So a lot of the bands that I do that kind of photography for, I would consider baby bands, and a lot of them end up coming to me for advice and asking how to network, who's good bands to play with to get new fans, etc., etc. So bands like that, whenever I do a photo shoot with a band like that, I think of them as baby bands.
Yeah. I was talking to Jeff about these bands earlier because we had a small discussion about what bands could go on our list and stuff. and you'll see which bands they are. But like I made like an argument that with some of these bands, like they have legendary members on the band, like they have all this history behind them from like past bands that they were on that got super popular, and like because they're in these new bands now, like no one knows what that band is. No one's really heard of the bands, but the members themselves bring in so much that it's like, can you call it a baby band? Like it's definitely a smaller band. It's definitely an indie band. But if you're gonna call one band a baby band, then you could call this one a baby band too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
bringing up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, bringing up, like connecting that, I think there's a difference between a baby band and a lesser known band.
Yeah, I guess
And
this
I
is our
think they
lesser
get
known
mixed
band
up.
stream. Yeah, this is gonna be our lesser known band stream then, because for the most part, all the bands we've picked are like, wow, like this is a badass band, and like all the members have such history.
Well, I definitely like Lori's definition. I can see that'd be very useful on like a like for especially promoter for us internally in the industry.
Yeah.
The kinds of bands I got back in response when I said baby band and just left it up to the fans was stuff like Poi Doll, Mami Dreta,
Right, those
starting
as baby bands
at the well, you know, I was also getting stuff like I guess Reiten Ichigram no Gosan, which is like which might be pushing it a little bit, you know. And then I had you know a few people that said Mejibre, which for me was like way too much.
Like if somebody said
Mejibre's
like,
not a baby.
but if somebody said like more as a baby band, it's like if you look at that band's history, they're just a lesser known, just a really good lesser known band, because like the drummer wasn't the one ex-member from the Gazette, and Loki was in Sugar, and like he worked with Seth from Waddy Small when he was in Shapeshifter and stuff like that. It's the whole thing. And then they have like ex-members from Ichini, Zero Ichini, and all that. It's crazy history in that band.
Yeah. So all in all, like honestly, like personally, I don't care too much about the exact definition, but it seems like everybody's got a good sense on the internet apparently from. About like, you know, the rough approximation of what it is. So
and
everybody's
going to have a different opinion anyway, depending on like what their experience is.
Yeah. So let us know in the chat, by the way, guys, if some of the bands that we cover in here fit your kind of definition of like, this is a baby band, you know, or is it like, nah, these guys are like, they're big. They're a little too big, you know, or something like that.
If you go up to them and call them "you're babies" to their face, they'd probably be pretty offended.
Yeah. So, so we'll go ahead and jump into this list. A lot of these bands were picked. I picked a lot of these bands, but I also picked some of them from input from other members of VKH like Winona and Sophia, and also from some feedback from viewers on social media and especially in our Discord. The way we're gonna like go through and talk about these bands is we're gonna start with Winona and my personal picks for I guess what we'd call like the.
No, I think we share a lot of the similar personal picks on this list.
Yeah, for sure, probably. Yeah. That's why I figured it was a safe bet. A lot of these ones that I'd pick because we've talked about some of them in the past. So.
I fully agree with this list.
Yeah. So what we're gonna start with is about. How many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9 bands that we kind of consider like the cream of the crop, quote unquote. You know, it's like just our personal picks for bands that are we either think they sound the best, we either think that we think they either sound the best, they have such a substantial following for their size, or like have gained a lot of attention that it's like it's hard to ignore them. We think they might have the most potential for such a small band, or something along those lines. It's really not exhaustive. It's kind of just a general vibe of like, this is really good. They're really good for being so small. or they're really picking up steam for being so small. And so after we go through those, we have a bunch of bands that I'd identified as being fan favorites from people directly messaging us or just seeing how people in general react to these bands on social media. Some of them are reader requests and viewer requests. Just one caveat is that all of these are our opinions. So if you think there's a band that, should be in the cream of the crop that we didn't put in there, that's totally cool. You should definitely let us know in the chat or in the comments. This is not exhaustive by any stretch of the imagination. VKH Live is just for entertainment. Opinions don't represent VKH as a whole, et cetera, et cetera. There, got the disclaimer in, just woven in there.
Real quick, real fast.
Yep. Okay, yeah. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So let me see if I can pull up. Yeah. So the first band we wanted to talk about is Kizu.
Personal babes, personal favorites.
Yeah. So longtime followers of VKH will know that Kizu is the unofficial baby band, arguably indie band of VKH.
Yeah, we unofficially support
at least
them.
a VKH breakdown and probably VKH Live. So, I am personally, I will never cease to be impressed by this band. They are 4 singles in as of this week. They just put out their 4th single. For those of you who aren't aware who this band is, they're barely over a year old. The vocalist of the band is Lime, who used to be in Lizard. And they just do some raw, really powerful, emotional, it's either hardcore or metalcore, just really high quality, intense, and experimental.
Their music is based on the whole concept of the band is that they are a concept band, right? Because they when they first air quotes started, Lime took the stories from people who called in because there was posters around the streets, I guess, and he'd take all these super personal stories of their hardships in life, and then it just sounds like that those stories became the inspiration for lyrics and music and created these really interesting stories that the band makes in their songs. Stuff like Kawazu, that was just a complex song on its own because it's called Frog, but when you watch the music video, it's about the difficulties of growing up and stuff like that and being alone and how you mature. It's all their music is really deep. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and just for context, for the people watching, the live video I'm playing right now looks pretty impressive. First, right? To put it in context, this was their 3rd one man. So this is kind of where they're at already.
As a 3rd one man. It's just I just will never stop shaking my head at this stuff because it's the sound keeps improving, keeps staying at this really solid quality. They're upstaging bands as far as I'm concerned that have been around for 5 years, but they're barely past their 1st year. They're just skyrocketing.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Because we have their singles, and so we listen to their B-sides as well. And
the B-sides are where their experiments thrive. It's amazing.
And they're just as good. And I'm this is not supposed to be happening.
I know, right?
So I don't know. Lori, do you have any experience with Kizu?
In my opinion, they're not a baby band.
Okay.
They have a lot of well-known members. They've got members from big bands in the past, like Loud Grape, that had Ban in it. So they were very popular. They are a band that would have started off with a fan base in Japan already and significant backing already. I mean, they're still growing, but like if we were to put an age on it, I'd put them at teenagers.
Okay.
Sounds about right, because they definitely had a fan base in Japan already, and they were already signed to a record label when they first started out.
Like a baby band is a band that's starting at either 0 or at no more like 5-10%. But like I said, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So like I'm not meaning to come in and like say no, you're wrong, but like I wouldn't look at them and think they're a baby band.
Right, yeah.
And like even just looking at the production value of this video, like they've got people behind them with money.
Oh yeah, they're backed by a label already. I forgot what it was called. It was Danger something. Not Danger Crew, but it was it had Danger in it. No, it was Disc something. But yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely a band that has more growing that they can do. They've got more adventures that they can take, more experiments they can do, and I think, like I said, they can definitely continue to grow. But I think they're not at that baby stage for sure, and I don't think they started off at that baby stage. Gula just said an adolescent band. I think that works for them.
Disc Garage,
I could see that. I would just add for a lot of I mean, for me, I put them on this list just strictly because of the age of the band itself. We've all seen bands with even more experience in the past. Or bands comprised of artists with more experience than these band members in Kizu. Damage, yeah, that's it.
Damage, that was it. Remember, it started with a D and it sounded edgy. That was all I could remember. But yeah, you were saying.
Oh, it's just I've seen bands comprised of even more experienced artists in the past flop. In a shorter amount of time or become much more lackluster. Additionally, Loud Grape and Lizard I would consider to be almost polar opposite of whatever the hell you want to call Kizu. I
mean, Lizard and Loud Grape are like in the Oshare section of Oshare. Band. And then the fact that Lime came out of that and was like, this is not for me, like took a sharp left.
I can't think of a better way to lose all of your Osharike fans.
So I feel like, oh man, if we think of it in that aspect, he's starting out in a different genre.
And the other thing is from like the perspective of an international fan, which is who I was asking this question to as well. Most people don't know who the guitarist of Loud Grape was.
Right.
And most people aren't even familiar with the ex-vocalist from 3 years back of Lime, or of Lizard.
Lizard, yeah.
Lime. So
now it's Sora. Lizard.
But I definitely agree. I think it's with what Lori is saying. Like it makes you make a good point that it's like if you go to Japan in the industry, they're not going to be like, oh wow, I'm so impressed you found these young upstarts named Kizu, but on YouTube and stuff.
America, people are just like, who the hell are these guys?
I don't know, maybe
show them their ex bands, and they're like, they were them, like.
Which makes me wonder if my standards are slipping a little bit. Just being an American, it's just like, maybe I should be expecting,
I don't know.
People in Kizu's circumstances.
No, I don't think that's what should happen. I think it's better that we're coming across bands who have more experience and saying that these bands are amazing, because then it's like they've worked hard for it and they're starting out still pretty young, right? Because there's plenty of bands who've been around for like years and years and like they're not getting anywhere, but Kizu is like right out the gate, just like comes out swinging, and they're making it happen, making a real name for themselves. So
what's crazy is this is honestly like it.
God, that's my favorite music video too.
Oh, the one I've got up there.
Yeah, I still got to get my whole analysis of it up, which is generally done. It's editing it that's been killing me.
Oh yeah,
I'll
yeah.
get that up this month. I have to. I have to get that up like this week, like tomorrow. I can get it up tomorrow. Look out for it tomorrow, guys.
Oh god. Dude, now that's recorded.
Now it's
locked in.
recorded. I'm gonna get it up
Oh
tomorrow.
my god. But yeah, I think basically just the amount of quality you get per single, because they're only, this, they just put out their fourth single, and like this PV is their third single.
I still got to get my hands on that fourth single.
It's the ratio of quality to quantity is like, it's ridiculous for a band so a concept so new, et cetera, et cetera. So I would definitely, if you guys haven't check these guys out,
Please.
They definitely have reason to be as good as they are, but it's Visual K. I've seen trash fires appear out of nowhere.
We've seen a lot happen out of nowhere.
And
this is a very spontaneous.
And I've seen upstart rocks, stellar, performances come out of nowhere. So like this is this.
You also gotta show them all your love so they can keep wanting to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So remind them every day on Twitter or something. I don't know. Just tell them to stay together.
Yeah. All right, let's hop over to the next one because this is going to be really interesting to get Lori's opinion on.
Yes, true.
So the next one that we had, and now that I know your definition, I'm curious about is Rides in Rebellion. Would you consider Rides in Rebellion to be, by your definition, a baby band at this age of the band?
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
They came to America and everything.
2 years ago, because they are actually celebrating their third anniversary at the moment. They had a third anniversary one man in Tokyo last week, and they have a third anniversary one man in Osaka next week. When I first met them, absolutely, they were when I myself came up with the word baby band. Like, I'm sure it came up before me, but like for me, that was my first experience with the concept of a baby band, Rides in Rebellion. And like I said just a little bit before, they used to be in a band called Black September, like Kuro, Taji, and Ahmed. They were in a band called Black September, and they disbanded, and then they kind of went quiet for about a year. During that time, Taji did a shit ton of session work, and that was because networking. He wanted to network. And then they formed again as Rides in Rebellion, and then eventually Nagi joined. And for about a year and a half, they were still finding themselves. They were doing everything independently. Now they're under a label, so it's a little bit different. They're under the same label as Daisy Stripper and Fest Vancouver. But
they worked hard. They made it just about. Yeah.
Yeah, they've gone a bit more quiet on the international scene at the moment, and we're slowly getting back into that. It hasn't been an optional thing, just they really needed to work hard in Japan. And they've been doing that with playing like with Fest and playing with Daisy Strip and all of that. So they're starting to do...
Daisy. What?
They're better than Fest.
Yeah. Who? What?
Sorry. We both had simultaneous allergies.
Whoa.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna agree or disagree with that, but I'm very happy with the thought. I need to stay.
I cannot tell a lie.
Even though they're my boys, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well and truly at the start, 100% a baby band, but in my opinion, they've grown a lot, and their experience level in the industry has immensely increased, especially Taji. he's really put in the work to understand the industry, so he doesn't need advice anymore. He can just do a lot of stuff on his own because he knows how it goes.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, there you go. For anybody else who isn't super familiar with Rides in Rebellion, I would say I would say they are best known internationally as a baby band, even though it's been a while anyway, or like a younger band, because there has been, like a year and a half without, without
Updates.
Yeah. So everybody's last impression was the Anime USA, which I think the general consensus from that
Shane
was
and the other one.
God, don't mention Shane.
Serios and
Serios, the Jesus one.
Yeah, Eternal.
Eternal. That's the Jesus one in my head.
Yeah, and so the general reaction from everyone who found out about them there was like, why are they so good for being so new? How have I not heard of them? Like that kind of stuff. I think
another thing that was really big with Rides, especially when they debuted and when we were doing the really heavy promotion, was I think it was one of the first times where a visual kei band had subtitles on their music videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, originally
had a English Twitter and all that. Like, I started that, so that's my pride and joy, the fact that that's kind of taken off. But they were the first band that had that.
Yeah, on their own, like coming out the gate.
Yeah, that had a huge impression on me because I've been following them since like I found Chain, which was their first PV, and
mentioning Chain.
I know you don't like to mention it. Maybe I wonder why.
It's for reasons.
Very good reason. The song is good. Listen to the song. Just don't watch the PV, people.
Okay, see now you have to clarify that. You have
it's there.
Yeah,
it's there. It's all there. It's all there. Just don't watch it.
Everything's there. It's too much is there.
There's just a certain person in there that Lori doesn't like to see.
It's just a certain reason.
A certain
thing connecting back to like, why don't you know Lori's face at this point? No, I'm kidding.
But
okay, we'll stop teasing. Let's.
Yeah, sorry, Lori. But what struck me about that PV was that there were subtitles on it, and they were very coherent, and the lyrics, like
it was actual like English.
Yeah, and like it was just an added plus because it was a very romantic sounding song and stuff like that. But then like when I heard the lyrics and was like, okay, the English part has now been confirmed for me because I'm seeing that yes, he did just say that in English, and then the Japanese part, like tying it back into like the rest of the song so that I could understand like what they're singing about. Like it was very well done. So I wouldn't have been able to tell that these that this band has had like very solid lyrics over the course of like at least the releases I've seen without those subtitles.
So. I think another thing about having those subtitles was super important for a new band, especially because like when we're looking for bands, like my Japanese sucks, right? And Jeff doesn't know Japanese, so like when we're listening to bands, it's like, all right, how's the production value? Do they sound good? Da, 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 da. And then like if we can get our hands on lyrics somehow, then we understand the story better. For the most part, like seeing the subtitles and stuff, we get a better handle on the talent of the lyricist.
Yeah, in Rides in Rebellion, Kuro writes all of the like lyrics. Taji does a large majority of like the actual music writing. And I think like with Rides in Rebellion in particular, especially at the start, they were a baby band, but they were a really smart baby band. They worked extremely hard, and they paid for everything themselves. They had no like actual financial backers. That was all them at the start for the at least the first 3 PVs. It was all them. And like I said, Taji in particular was really smart because he went himself and during their break did all the session work, which was networking, and that was really important. So yeah, they were a baby band, but they grew up really fast because they really fought and had a game plan in mind. Like they had targets that they wanted to reach, but at the same time, when Rides started, V-Star started, I started. If it wasn't for Rides in Rebellion, V-Star promotion wouldn't be a thing, and I'll say that honestly, like they're the reason V-Star is a thing. And the fact that they were a baby band, but they were also open to different ideas. Well, it's because they were a baby band that they were open to different ideas. When I talked to them and said, do you want to like have English subtitles for this PV that you're forcing me to be a part of? Do you want to have like a English Twitter for foreign fans? We can like try to get you popular overseas. And they were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And like they were trusting me at the time, who had no proper experience in this industry. And if they weren't a baby band, they wouldn't have been able to do that. So there is definitely like a real advantage in being like that much of a baby band.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate this music video. They should have gotten me to film it.
Is this a music video or is it a live?
A live video, but whoever filmed it
the
did a
camera's
shitty
so
job.
unsteady, dude. Like, I can see why Lori hates it. But
oh yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, I can kind of see it.
If you can see how shaky the cameraman's hand. Oh god, that's Switch. Oh,
I'm pretty sure I know who filmed it, but no. Just move to a different one, just not this one, please.
Just let's go to the next artist.
Yeah, that was the plan anyway, so we'll just jump right over. So next up is Dimlim.
What a band.
So this is one that it's like I found myself treating these guys like a fucking major band, like the last few months in terms of like not even the last few months, literally like a month after they debuted, like we were already referring to them as though they'd been around for many years. So
it's because of the history of the members.
Well, yeah, I think so, but
for at least one of the members, right? Because like what was who was it? Issei. He was like an ex-member of DID.
Yeah,
and
so
freaking DID, man. Like,
yeah. So yeah, for people who aren't aware, so Dimlim has only been around for maybe a year and a quarter, or so, but they really like grabbed a lot of people's attention, at least overseas, like on the international side, because they are bringing a lot of vibes of certain more avant-garde, arguably progressive bands like Duran Gray, but more specifically DID. And the reason for that is that the drummer, now the former drummer, who started the band, Issei is his name, and he was the former drummer of DID. DID was a band. They were signed to Danger Crew at one point.
Bassist, apparently.
Yeah, they were the reformed band of Paranoir, which was a very beloved band in international VK fandom even before DID. And DID was kind of doing like this prog metal take on what Duran Gray was kind of doing at the time, which is that they were both like moving past heavy metal and into this more like atmospheric, like very avant-garde metal. So basically like DID ended up going on indefinite hiatus, and then a few months after that, I think Duran Gray ended up releasing Arche. So that's like the kind of progression path that they were on. And the only other band that was doing the kind of stuff that Duran Gray was doing, like in that general ballpark, which was like Rinkaku and then The Unraveling and then like leading up to RK, was, in as far as I was concerned, the only other band.
The Untruth and all that stuff.
Yeah. And so as far as I was concerned, the only other band that was doing something like that and in their own way was DID. And so we were really kind of disappointed when they went on hiatus, because it turned into an eternal hiatus. So then we were really shocked when, or excited to find out about Dimlim. Shocking thing kind of happened with Dimlim though. Oh, also side note, Dimlim also had, still has one of the ex-guitarists of Deviloof, with Lord Ruya. Okay.
Yes, teach Jeff.
Can I get a rate? Let me get a rating in the chat.
No, you get a grade. Give him a grade.
It's a hard thing to say.
Yeah. Well, so kind of shocking thing that happened to Dimlim last fall, which would have been just a few months after they'd come out. They put out their debut mini album. It had 2 PVs with it. Kind of blew up on YouTube for a Visual K band.
Really lost their shit.
Yeah, like they hit 6 figures on that first PV, like really fast.
Oh yeah.
So Issei ended up leaving the band. And that was like very scary because oh great, why, god damn it, YouTube. Just why can't you work?
Issei had left the band after that first music video came out, where it was like
after that first mini album, basically.
After that first music video where I like went off on that podcast.
Oh, that was the yeah. Well, that one came out at the same time as the first one that they dropped, which I'm playing now, because they both came from the same mini album.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and so then, we were like, well, that's kind of like having the heart ripped out of your band. So
yeah, because then we kind of saw it in the following music video, like in the next single they had put out.
Although I will say, I think I saw somewhere online that next single, which was called "The Silence Song," was like the last. That was going to be the last song that Issei had an influence on. So it was technically from him. But at the very least, looking at the PV, it was a little concerning seeing just the vocalist in the PV. So then we didn't hear from them for quite a while. And then they announced that they were going to do a full concept album. And we just got the PV for one song from that and a lyric video from another song. And that it sounds amazing. It sounds like they improved rather than, like regressed or fell apart or anything like that. Vanitas, which was the PV that was playing prior to this one, was like that shit like blew my mind like when I heard it. So I'm pretty hyped about this upcoming album. It's called Cheodara, I believe, and I'm not sure how huge this band is in Japan. I'm imagining they're pretty big. If they're pretty decent following. These guys are like walking on the edge, like the average like baby band I'm used to seeing. I was ready for this band to collapse.
Yeah, they've been reinventing themselves a lot.
I think Dimlim is a very unique case because, like, when they first started out, because of Issei, I wouldn't have considered them a baby band because, like, of course, he has so much experience. To a lesser extent, Ria also has experience, but I wouldn't consider a lot because he left quite early in Deviloof's life. And of course, like before Deviloof was a thing, they were like all just metal bandmen. So, like in the VK industry, it's a whole different kettle of fish. So, yeah, Ruya left Deviloof when they were still a baby band. So I would still consider him a baby band man at that time. But Issei was what kind of made Dimlim not a baby band. And so now that he's gone, they've kind of like, it's gonna sound weird, but they've kind of reverted back a few steps, but they're still making good music. They just don't have the same level of experience.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Like,
Yeah.
in some of the, I think if you get into certain parts of their song structure or their instrumentation, like they're kind of doing that brand new indie band thing where they're just like really enthusiastic about like going crazy on throwing a bunch of things together. So they've got like the progressive metal riffs, and then like the vocalist is like going full on high to low screaming and growling and just all at once, and then they're stopping and then going all at once. So I can see it a little bit. Like it's but the talent or the ambition or both is like it's very palpable.
They're at that baby band stage where like they're still trying to find who they are now and where they're going, but they
essentially lost their band leader.
Yeah,
like they've lost their guy, because if Issei was the only one with experience, he would have been the band leader.
Oh, for sure, he was definitely the leader. Yeah.
Now they don't really have it.
I mean, I think they still have a lot of potential, and like I do have some dealings with them, mainly because like I used to work, like I still work with Ryu, but like I used to work with him back when he was in Develop, so I still like have some dealings with him, and because of him with Dimlim. But like I think they'll continue to grow, and where they're lucky is a lot of their fan base is still around despite Issei leaving, like in Japan anyway. So yeah, their situation is very unique in the fact that they're not really a baby band, but they're not really any, like they don't really have an age anymore.
Yeah, that's a decent way of putting it for sure. It's just a hell of a thing to do to like, I mean, they basically doubled down on the fact that they didn't have an identity and like went straight for the concept album and
they're trying to find themselves
and went as crazy as possible for that PV track. So maybe there's gonna and I like that track better than like anything they've put out personally. So maybe there's gonna be things on there that I've like I dislike, just as strongly, just because of like the just the instability. Yeah, and also the instability of the fact that it is more younger members now. So less structure. So it'd be very interesting to see. But yeah, so we can move on to the next one. So I don't know if we need to spend
I'm probably gonna need to leave after the next band because like talking about baby bands, I actually have a baby photography session to do, so I can stick around for one more.
Okay.
Do you have any more of my bands in there?
Yeah, but they're like in a different section of this.
Yeah, we put it in the popularly requested sections. We have some of your other ones.
I want to stick around for them.
You can come back.
I can't. I've got the baby photo shoot, and then I have Rimaru's birthday.
Yeah, well, it's if you want to message us anything we want to, you want us to mention for them, we can talk about it.
Can you like send me a message about what bands they are?
Yeah, for sure.
While Lori's talking about that, I will multitask through the stream, which will involve me going outside. So we'll see.
Wait, what?
I still got to do things. Because this is going to take longer than expected. I don't want to leave like you alone, Jeff. So I'm going to multitask through the stream.
I can still be around for a little bit longer.
Okay, we can do one more, and then when you hop off, I'll shoot you a message about which ones they are, and if you want.
I'm really curious.
I don't want to give it away for viewers,
the viewers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hop into the next one, which is going to be Reiten Ichigram no Gosan.
Reite Ichigram no Go-san.
Yeah. So this one I was like personally on the edge of like, because as far as I can tell, they've been so wildly popular. I don't even know if you would call them a baby band. They're definitely a young band, definitely fitting into at least the part of the title of this stream, the next generation of Visual K. But they've really kind of shot up in terms of, I would say, notoriety more than anything over the last year and a half. It seems like, I see more and more people talking about them. They used to be more of a niche thing. And it was a niche that I wasn't even particularly following. And then they just started getting bigger and bigger. And by the time I found them, like they were like in full swing of just more and more people finding out about them, sharing them online, at least international fans. Then I was seeing them blow. It seems like they're blowing up quite a bit in Japan as well. This was the band that actually gave me the idea for Parody K back in the day, the label. I mean, they were the ones that kind of made me raise it as like a trend that I was seeing, and that it wasn't like Golden Bomber, like they're I'm putting on a costume and I'm trying this new. Look, guys, I'm like this one band, but I'm not that band. Ha ha ha! It was they were taking the music and the general aesthetics of different bands and smashing them together and putting them on rotation, like some kind of crazy visual and also audio DJ, and that was just their entire compilation of singles to a certain degree, sometimes within the same song. So like this one, for example, the visuals and some of the musical style is very Kiryu-esque, like the harder side of Kiryu, the heavier side that got Kiryu pretty successful at the beginning. You could I could list it out for a cajillion different things, but long story short, this band's like chaotic and crazy and changing constantly, and they're very good at what they do. I think you have to be very talented to make music this crazy and amorphous and it not sound like a train wreck.
Honestly, I'm just impressed watching this PV. I've been in that location and I'm surprised they didn't all burn to death.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Completely unrelated. Sorry, when I'm watching this, I'm like dreading it because
it's that warehouse. I just realized that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. This is a tiny warehouse. I didn't even realize it because of the lighting.
It's quite a big warehouse, but it's also, I wouldn't want to put fire in there.
I mean, it's pretty narrow for that. Like, the ones I see with the fire, it's usually the outdoors and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't want fire. No, I'm getting, as it is, I get shivers whenever I see that warehouse, but watching it with all the fire is just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, they were...
More levels of no.
Yeah, this song in particular, they really they were like, yeah, we can be heavy. You want to see heavy? Here's some heavier parts. We won't just be
fire.
We won't just be schizophrenically like light and punk, and then a little bit light and then a little bit punk. It's like, no, we'll go really heavy for a little bit, and then we'll jump back into that, and then we'll go really heavy. But it's just like there's certain parts like it's like, no, to be clear, here's a crazy like Kiryu style horror metal riff, and then now we're jumping back into the Osharike almost esque like chorus, and then they're just all over the place. I can't even like describe this band properly, but they're wild, and they're definitely on the up and up, and their music is fascinating to listen to, and their PVs are fascinating to watch, and it's like it's just like a slap in the face the first time you see it, and then it's hard not to look away. So, yeah, Winona, do you have anything to add for that? I always have trouble describing them.
On Dimlim, on their PVs.
No, on Reiten Ichigram no Go-san.
Oh, Reite. Sorry, I don't know why my brain went back. It's because the YouTube froze. No, I feel like their PVs, they always follow a certain folklore, Japanese folklore, but then they take it and then they or usually they follow a certain Japanese folklore, like one of their more recent ones did, and they
that's the one we just had up on screen.
Yeah, I don't want to say they make fun of it. They use it to make fun of daily life. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
There was the music video where they put a hex on their
that one was just playing
Japanese folklore too. They put a hex on their ex-manager.
Yeah, that one was just playing. I do have the one they have up now, which is almost like a parody of Pentagon's Crazy Tribe. But you can just kind of tell in the way they do it that it's they just flip through, they cycle through some of this stuff. So
I don't know. I wonder how they choose the subjects for their music videos, because it's always just making fun of so many different aspects of life.
Yeah, for sure. All right, yeah, I think that one wraps that up. Lori, do we need to go ahead and let you go?
That one was pretty quick, so I can probably stay around for one more.
Okay. All right.
I can probably stay around longer if I bring my makeup to my table and do my makeup while we do this.
45 minutes of doing makeup. Nice.
Okay.
Multitask. Join me, Lori.
Yeah, just give us a shout out when it's when you need to.
I'll be quiet for a few minutes while I go get my makeup. Then I can probably stay for longer.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Dope. So the next one.
The next one is Acme.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely a young band. Probably wouldn't fit.
This is the bands that Lori was talking about before too, where you have members who have a lot of experience.
Well, that's why I said young, but this is still what's coming up for people with international fans. It's young, maybe not baby. Arguably baby if you're not a promoter.
Chisa can travel on his own because Dive, but the band is new and can't yet do
maybe I'll change the title to young bands, because I have baby bands, the next generation of Visual K, so all these bands fit that second part, but if the baby is up for debate,
but Acme, definitely super talented band, lots of experience backing them just about, which brings a whole network with them because they're working with talented producers on their stuff, which gives them that high production sound. And they're coming out with an album on August 8th. There's a music video coming out soon for Zesho Oka.
Yeah, there's a preview up I just saw.
Yeah, I designed that thumbnail.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see. Yeah, they're really good. They just gotta market themselves overseas, and they're all right, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say they were they were one of the bands that I had picked when I was when we brought up because I brought up Parody K in that one podcast episode, and then the other one that I brought up that stuck was Extra K, and Acme was my go-to example. Well, looking at that new PV preview they just dropped.
No, they're not.
No. Hold on. That's what I was thinking too, Winona, right up until I saw that PV preview that just dropped, and I think I'm glad I picked them for Extra K, because they seem to be sticking with it.
They're still extra, yeah. They're very extra.
I would call them still very extra. You could argue Rotten Orange is extra, but the kind of extra that I was describing with Extra K, which was let's do Oshari K, but raised to the nth power and in every direction, and also sound.
I think with Acme, it's just let's pick something and then raise it to the nth power in every direction.
Yeah.
Like Rotten Orange, it was like, okay, so we called it orange, right? Dang, guess we got to do everything
Get it?
orange.
It's orange.
Everything's orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're wearing black, but we have background dancers because background dancers, and also fire. Like, it was everything orange. And then Zeshooka is like, yeah, it's Japanese folklore, but like,
but it's so
very
glittery.
Japanese.
So
like
glittery
everything's glittery. There's kimono print everywhere. So many textiles.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's just a lot. It's always a lot with Acme, but it's okay. It's like an explosion. It's an explosion of visuals, and it's
pretty solid so far.
Acme is aptly named because it's like a ticking time bomb of what you're gonna get.
Yeah, like here for the PV that's playing now, you can see why I went for extra K. Is even more obvious than in Rotten Orange. It's
I gotta refresh my computer. I still see Dimlim on my YouTube screen, which is really pissing me off. And I'm like, no.
But it's been an interesting experiment because I was a very big fan of Dive, so it was very disappointing when they disbanded. I feel like I'm seeing like a I don't know. You know how you jailbreak an iPhone? Like I feel like that's like what they did, what Cheese has done with his Dive formula. Now it's just doing all these things you didn't know it could do. Wondering if
and Shogo from Dive.
Yeah, wondering if they're ever going to do something that maybe it wasn't designed to do. But so far it's just like a bunch of crazy stuff, and seems to be coming out pretty well. Yeah. So we'll definitely see. I think they changed a lot. If there were people that were on the fence about them or just like just weren't super into their like zanier looks and sounds, I think Rotten Orange kind of got a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, it was like in a weird way. It was more.
It got Shola's attention. So I mean,
but I'm saying, like in a weird way, Rotten Orange was way more cohesive than like Senko. Because I'm looking at that music video right now where they're all wearing different colors, but then like Rotten Orange, it just made them all look similar, but it was still a lot on your eyes because it's an oversaturation of orange. And now Zeshooka, it's like. I just feel like their looks got slicker.
Yeah.
Like it's more stylized. Still a lot, just more stylized, and the sound is still.
I'm liking the slickness. I think the slickness needed to happen.
Yeah, it definitely did. It toned down just enough. Like not all the way, just a couple notches.
Yeah, because now it's got that certain level of like aesthetic, like the aesthetic, but with spaces in between all the letters.
How I type it usually as.
Whereas before I was like, I have a lot of respect for Dive, so it's not like I'm going to like immediately hate on the first thing that he puts out, or I'm not going to judge it too hard. But there is a part of me that was looking at it like, oh, this has got a hard case of. I'm unique. Look at me. I'm a unique VK.
Oh God! If Chisa and Shogo had not been in this band, you would have been like, "Yo, what's up with Acme, huh?"
Well, they were pulling it off. Is the other thing. Like they were pulling it off. Yeah. It's just really hard to pull off.
The pandas remained in the band.
The panda killed me. The pandas were killing me, especially the close-up of the guy where he's making the panda eat out of his hand, like the stuffed animal panda.
Stayed in the band. I feel like Hal fought for the pandas to stay. Like he was like, this is Acme's mascot. And then it's like, no, Acme's mascot is Emka, the bunny rabbit, but that's whatever. Just keep the pandas.
Yeah, so that's kind of where Extra K came from. It's like, okay, well, what happens when you do that, but it doesn't come out cringy? like it comes out good.
Jeez.
Like what happens?
What do you do that when you slick it down a little bit, make it an adult?
What happens when you rise to that massive burden that new bands create that they don't realize they create by trying to do everything at once that they can't?
Asuka's pointing out Rikito's hair, and it's like, yeah, but have you seen Rikito's hair now? Like, it's It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
You got Kizu playing on the screen right now?
I've moved it back.
Okay.
There's only so many Acme PVs that I can.
You're not wrong. So I guess we got to talk about Mami Reta, because Acme, like, they're doing great, but they haven't done a lot yet, so there's not a ton to talk about.
Yeah, that's about all we can do for that. But yeah, here's Mami Reta.
Here's the real boys.
Here's my boys.
By the way, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back. I'm
We
gonna
just-
make my way to do my.
We were just getting ready to talk about Mami Reta.
The boys.
Which I feel like I don't think I've seen a band wear their babiness on their sleeve as much as Mami Reta has.
Mami Reta, they take pride in the fact that they don't have a lot of experience and use that as an excuse to do whatever the fuck they're doing now. That's the best way to put it. Like, if any other band had tried to do this with a whole plethora of history behind them, they would have gotten called out for it so hard, and then I don't know.
You know, in retrospect,
That OS though, that's pretty good.
yeah, that they've blown up. They're kind of a meme at this point.
They're a meme.
I saw a video on, I don't know if it was Twitter, but it was the two guitarists from Kiryu were doing some kind of like meme pantomiming to the knocking in that Ojamashimas song. Like the part where they're knocking and then like the guitar playing comes in and then it's like, and then he goes Ojamashimas, like they were acting it out like it was like some kind of a meme trend or something. So like there's bigger bands that are like paying attention to them and stuff because of their antics. But yeah, I guess the easiest way to describe them is just really like heavy underground metal kind of sound, but like with such a huge air of like don't give a fuckness to it, that it's like they will play these long drawn out really chuggy basic metal chords, but then they'll just like they don't care, you know. It's like that's what we're doing, and like, you know, he'll burp into the microphone on track, you know, or on recording, or he'll cough, and you know, and their PVs are like fairly ridiculous as well, and there's just like a very huge level of not giving a fuck with this band, and it seems to have resonated very strongly with people. Ojamashimas, I think, is still their fan favorite song. That shit has almost 500,000 views on YouTube. So it's like, and that didn't come out that long ago.
Okay, but my personal favorite is Neh. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that song isn't even a year old. That PV isn't even a year old. It's Ojamashimas, I mean, not the Nene. But they've got their first full album coming out, so that's going to be pretty exciting. Yeah. Any other comments on Mami Reta, Winona? Any comments at all?
Mami Reta, great band, great baby band. I fully respect their experimentation. It's raining a lot outside right now. I apologize. Yeah, they yeah, I gotta say, when Ojamashimas came out, like, I just thought, this band has something funny to them, but then they just kind of spiraled out of control with their insanity. See, they have another single right after Neh? I missed it. All I can say is that's what I could say. But they've
had a lot come out. They've
been active. They've been very active as a baby band. I think it's partly because they can just do whatever the fuck they want, like that they can just do whatever they want, and they can be that as active as they are.
Honestly, they sound like the singles they've been dropping sound like rough cuts. Demo tracks.
I told you before. They sound like Gazette before Rookie figured out how to sing. So
yeah. I mean, and they have that attitude of like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but like, fuck it, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's great. It's
Yeah,
really
but like a
great.
lot of their singles really have like Ojamashimas was like, I feel like they knew they were onto something with that track, so they like went in on the PV, and everything like that. But like the other ones have just been more about them really exercising how many different ways they can like come off as like this I don't give a fuck kind of a band. But they had 3 singles come out in 3 months, and the Nene one was the second of those 3 singles. And then they've had I don't know if it's another single or they have their first album coming out, and they dropped a PV or 2 for that. It looks like it's 2. So they've just been cranking out a lot of content really quickly. So and it's working for them. So
Sweet. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go silent for a few.
you go silent for a few.
But yeah, we gotta get on that album when it comes out.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would be totally down to live react to it. Let's see. Asaka in the chat says that's how you get popular these days, be a meme, and then dig deeper, make more memes. It's very true. Very true. Lori, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on Mamireta at all? Have you paid attention? Have you noticed them kind of gaining traction?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm still looking into them a bit more because they've kind of got my interest of late too. But the growth that they're experiencing, like going back onto like defining what a baby band is, like I think once you know what you're doing, you're not a baby band anymore. And I think they've definitely figured out what they're doing. Like I think at the start they were definitely still like throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck, and I think they've found out what stuck. And it's obviously working really well for them. They're growing really fast. Their fan base is growing really fast. I mean, they're playing at Old West and they're releasing an album. So
yeah, that's a good
they're
point.
growing incredibly fast.
Yeah, my question is what I'm curious about is how long people stay interested in this kind of a thing. Like if they can have a whole career around this.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Like they need to figure out really quickly that they need to keep on changing it up. Like they can keep on being a meme band, but they need to like venture into different memes. They need to create different things and like stay relevant.
Yeah, they're going to reach that point at some point where it's either going to be that they commit to being able to keep it fresh and do or live and die by that, which because like who's to say that they can keep something that fresh for years and years and years, just doing a goofy kind of meme thing and yet it's still being listenable music. Or they do what, I guess, because we made the comparison to Indie Gazette, they'll do what Indie Gazette did, which was make a hard shift towards like more serious music, maybe starting with like a heavy sound and then like, going from there.
Something I've heard, actually, it was to describe VKH's drummer Pami, but I think it kind of like relates to this and relates to a lot of parody K or meme K. You need to be smart, incredibly smart to be stupid.
Yeah.
And I think that's what these guys need to keep an eye on and kind of remember, because like, let's be honest, the whole point of memes, the whole point of parody is that it's stupid as shit.
Yeah, and random.
So you need to be smart to keep on like keeping that new and keeping it funny. So yeah, you need to be smart to be stupid.
Yeah. And I know of exactly one record label in any music genre anywhere in the world that has figured out any sort of reliable formula for recreating the success of that. So yeah, it's not even just that you have to be smart. at this point, we're still at a point where you basically have to be so smart that you're able to come up with something nobody else has come up with, which is a way to replicate
Really hard these
memeness. Yeah. Yeah, like and like nobody's like the only people I know of that have figured that out to any like recreatable degree is 88 Rising, which like works with a lot of Asian hip hop artists. Miyavi worked with them, and they've got like people on like there that like are like meme gods basically, you know, that have like actually like one of the guys used to be Filthy Frank on YouTube, and that was the guy that invented the Harlem Shake meme. So that's like the level of people that have just now figured out how to be able to just make another meme, which is like, you would think it's just like, how do I make a joke again and it's funny, and it's like, well, no, it's not just that it's funny, it has to go viral. And so,
and I think, you know, that's also a sign of the times, because like 10, 15 years ago, that kind of music wouldn't have been popular. But let's be honest, like the world is pretty fucking depressing a lot of the time at the moment. So like music is just an easy way, and it's also like an alternative to like the more obvious ways like TV, movies, to get like entertainment, to get a few laughs.
Yeah,
despite
sure.
like the world being shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So best of luck to Mami Drieta with all of that. I think in the meantime, they just keep having fun.
Yeah, they're doing well for themselves. So
yeah. So okay, next one on our little cream of the crop list we got here is Laplace, which is not going to fit your definition of baby band, Lori, because it's ex-drummer of Dive. But in terms of them just being a young band or a new band, I was definitely very impressed when I reviewed their first EP, Hakume. It's kind of like a continuation of the style of music that Dive had, but with like a lot more variety and like a lot more emphasis on like quality instrumentation. I completely underrated Satoshi as a drummer in Dive, is what I realized when I was listening to Laplace's music, because he's fantastic, and I didn't notice that. I guess I was too caught off guard, I guess, by the what do you call it, the trippy or like the really chill like electronic beats that Dive like to use and stuff like that. But yeah, so Satoshi's a really solid drummer. All of the instrumentalists in Laplace are very solid, and the vocalist is solid. This is like if you had like a Dive 2.0 and then like, but more diverse musically. And I think they're going to go really far. They could honestly just keep doing exactly what they're doing, because what they're doing is varied enough that so like this PV that's playing, right? It's called Hakume. It sounds like it could be an anime intro, like to the point where it like legitimately should be an anime introduction, not just like it falls in that style. But all of the other tracks on this EP do not sound like this at all, which was different from like Dive, where Dive would kind of fall back to this every now and then, just like a lot of Visual K bands do. But the other tracks are doing stuff like jazz rock, a little bit of like maybe some pop rock, some of that lounge rock kind of stuff that that Doubt used to do back in the day when they were on PSC. So yeah, there's just enough variety that I think if they could just keep doing what they're doing, and they'll go really far, or they can mix it up more. So yeah, this was definitely one that just stuck out to me as like a really solid, complete product already. Yeah. So do you have any comments on Laplace, Laurie? Uh-oh. Did I lose Laurie?
I'm still here. So you want comments on Laplace?
Yeah.
All right. So, see, all I know about them is Hakume, right? Because that was the first music video to come out, and the mini album to come out too. But I didn't really get to get my hands on that because that's not on Spotify worldwide just yet. But
Yeah.
from what we had speculated on them, they were like the other half of Dive, right? Because the drummer was in Dive before, and so was the bassist, I think. So it
No,
was
not the
literally the other
bassist.
half of Dive, not the bassist.
No.
Yeah, just the drummer. But yeah, that's
Oh, okay.
yeah. I didn't get to do too much looking into
Yeah,
Laplace.
yeah, no worries, and it's a little unfortunate. They really need to put that EP up on Spotify. The sooner the better, because like I just said, like there was there's more to them than just Dive 2.0, and it would be really good if they had the Spotify EP up on there, because I do think Hakume the EP would become more popular than Hakume the song. But yeah. The fact that it's Laplace and not Laplace throws me off a bit. LOL. Asuka said that. Asuka, that's actually it is actually they are named for Laplace's demon. God, I had a whole thing on this. I did a podcast on it, I think. It's a
Yeah, we did, and you also reviewed the EP, right? So you could talk about it in the review a little bit, I think.
I think I did talk about it, yeah. And let's see. Let me see if I can pull it up. Like, this is something I would have I completely forgot. Oh, so basically, it's a Wikipedia is saying it's the first published articulation of causal or scientific determinism. And it's attributed to Pierre Simon Laplace. According to determinism, if someone knows the precise location and momentum of every atom in the universe, their past and future values for any given time are entailed. As in, like, they can calculate the past and future laws of classical mechanics for everything. And that someone, like, so if someone knows where literally every atom in the universe is, they would be able to calculate, they'd be able to predict everything that has happened already and will happen in the future. And that someone, that hypothetical someone, is Laplace's demon. Really entertaining shit for a lot of people. I'm watching, I'm sure, but if anyone's curious, that's what it means. Also, if someone is like more researched on scientific determinism, like don't kill me for butchering that definition. But yeah,
I was just trying to figure out why you guys were jumping over me, and I just figured that I had myself on mute.
Oh, yeah, I had asked you. I had said, I had asked if you had any thoughts on Laplace. I didn't.
Yeah, I actually started talking, and then like somebody else kept on talking, and I was like, okay then. But I had myself on mute for some reason. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We've done that a couple times ourselves, I think. So.
But yeah, so basically my thoughts. I think when you asked me, you actually said, oh no, at the start when you opened into them, you said, totally not your definition of a baby band. And yeah, totally not my definition of a baby band. And something you also said, you said they're like a complete product. And for me, like, that's 100% not a baby band. Like, when they're polished and they know what they're doing, like, a baby doesn't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're still a band that's has like growth to do, like especially with popularity, and I think they'll get that, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Obviously, and like they have a polished sound already. They have members that are from like well-known bands before, so yeah, definitely a young band, promising band, but in my opinion, not a baby band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's about all to cover there because they just have that, and then they have an upcoming an upcoming release coming out shortly if it hasn't dropped already. But we can move on to the next one, which is Poidal. So we got multiple requests for this band, and also just due to its general popularity and just kind of my assessment of the kind of music they make and how it sounds, we definitely decided to include them in our our personal pick of the best of quote unquote baby bands or the best of the next generation of Visual K. If it fits either part of that title, which is the title of the stream. But Poidal definitely, I think, fits it for me in terms of just being a really solid young band. They kind of have that sound that the Goemon bands have been cultivating, that they started with Arlequin on, where it's I don't know what you would call Lunacy song structure 2.0 edition, and also instead of rock, it's more on the alternative metal side, somewhere between glam metal and alternative metal. And then that's the formula, that's the base, and then everything stacks on top of that. And so Arlequin just stacked a bunch of very similar layers on top of it. So they do every different style of that in an alternative metal context. And then Pentagon put a bunch of dark fantasy and punk elements on top of that and just went all over the place in terms of experimenting, and still are going all over the place in terms of experimenting with that. And then Poidal, it seems they're doing a very Kira K sort of take on it. Very catchy, but if you listen to their lyric videos or their B-sides, which are what their lyric videos are, they're definitely able to go and shift to something a little bit heavier and funkier, but it's still all hyper catchy. And they really took off for at least their debut did. I think their first two singles charted on Oricon. They went to the first one was in the 60s, I think, and then the second one was in the 30s. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. The first single, which was called Sapphire, hit number 63 on the Oricon charts, and Eureka, which was the next single, hit 37. So that's pretty impressive because they're only on their third single now with Aqua Blue, and that just dropped. So these guys just kind of came out of the gate hard and fast. I wasn't expecting them to keep it together or to have it so together like this, just because even from following Arlequin and then Pentagon and now them, I'm used to a little bit more of a boot up time for the Goemon bands. Not a huge boot up time because they get going really fast, but this was almost no momentum building phase. It was the momentum had been built by the time they had officially debuted with their first single. So
they made a unique startup because they announced the band before they had found all the members, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, so I remember that.
I think their concept was already out in the public knowledge domain before the band was finished being formed. So maybe that kind of sped up the growth in their popularity and the growth of their fan base, because people already kind of knew more or less what to expect from them.
Yeah, that's a good point. maybe they were able to recruit a little bit better for it too, since they were making their intentions known. So, I will say one thing I noticed, and and I'm curious as to how much this contributed to it too, is they did put out, I believe, both of the B-sides of their single ahead of time in lyric video form. And they were very... both of the B-sides are like really solid B-sides. They're like very... they remind me of Komodo Dragon, like a more digitized form of Komodo Dragon, I guess. So it's like kind of funky, kind of like heavy, but still really catchy in the chorus, and they're just able to go through all of that. But then, it's just very, very digital K, quote unquote, at the same time. And then the lyric videos were just like super like tons of effort you could tell went into them to like get your attention and stuff. Like they're not like easy to make videos. If anyone has any experience with video editing, you could look at those videos, you're like, oh, what the hell? So like there's a lot of strategy, I feel like, I guess is what we keep hitting on, is that there's a lot of strategy that went into this, a lot of intention, a lot of like around a focused goal. So it's yeah. So it's very it's working out really well for them. So is Poidal Oshari K? Question from the chat. I don't know. I would say that to me they look like Kira K, which is like
a sub-variant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Kira K is a sub-variant of Oshari K, right? Is that
more or less?
Works? Yeah, and it's a sub-variant that's so like popular
because, like,
that
the thing is,
yeah.
Sorry, with Japanese, the word Oshari actually means like fancy.
Yeah, so it's like half of, or like 80% of Visual K.
Yeah.
Could like, arguably be Oshari K.
So, like, if somebody's kind of dressed all trendy, like, or, like, they look all fashionable, like, people would say, oh, Oshari in it. But, like, when the term Oshari started, it was, like, bands like Anne Cafe and all that. So a lot of people kind of, like, connected that word with, like, the bright colors and, like, the really poppy kind of things, but the actual meaning is more like fashionable.
Yeah, exactly. We really should put out an article on that, because we've talked about it on a few streams now. I think all our regular viewers are aware, but there's definitely, I see a lot of people out there that just are just not, and Asuka asked the question. Asuka knows. I think it's definitely a question. It's a good question, because it's like, well, is this like, where does that fall? So if Kira K it's a subset of Oshari K, right? So then so they are technically. I would say
Kira means like shiny. It's the sound of like something glittering.
Yeah, and they literally have like Kira K bands literally have like what I would call like shiny sound effects. Is that how you would call it in their music? Where it's like, I don't know what's making it, but it's like those chimes or like breaking glass or, So Vivid was like, I guess the Kira K band back in the day, and then like Roy's is like probably the current reigning champion.
And then you also have like the Hosto K bands, like the Host K bands, and that's also like a subgenre of Kira.
Yeah, there you go.
So like you've got a subgenre that also has like subs and more subs of that, and it's gone a bit crazy.
Yeah, like if you see looking at the PVs on here, it's like there's just certain things they're doing that it's like, that is Kira as fuck, like, but it's like they do it really well. So that's just where I would probably I would specifically put them. So yes, technically Oshari K, but I guess it kind of depends on who's asking, because a lot of people still, when they say Oshari, they're asking for like, or like if your friend asks if they're Oshari K, they may be like thinking of Genki Oshari K, but all right, so then the last band that we had for our little our little cream of the crop, like the best of the little guys, the best of the the newer bands, is let's see, is Zigzag.
Zigzag.
So yeah, so Zigzag's one of those bands that it's interesting because like even for me, like how I would define baby bands, and I'm only defining baby bands insofar as how I see like our most international fans referring to it for the time being. That was how I set up my definition. But like even from that context, this band really, they have been around long enough that they would almost be like, I would almost look at them as like they're like veterans of the underground kind of scene or whatever that they're in, but they've
definitely been around for a long time.
They only just recently like released their first single and put up their first official PV. So it's like, on the one hand, it's like, oh, okay, they're veterans of what? The underground scene, but it's like in terms of like, how are they performing in the music industry, in the market? It's like, we don't really know because they just sell everything live limited. And all we know is a bunch of people show up to their shows. Like, are they good, or are they like are they good artistically, or is it like a bunch of is it a bunch of smoke and mirrors? It's like
it's a bit of both, honestly.
Yes, yeah. So now we'll get to know exactly, because they've got an official catalog now consisting of one single. So yeah, do you have any knowledge about like what the significance was, like why now, like like why they picked what they picked?
Honestly, when they first like actually started releasing shit for real, I was quite surprised, because like I've had like some minor interactions with them, and like my opinion of them was that they were always just gonna keep on doing their thing, because what they were doing was really successful for them, and like the fans that they had were incredibly loyal. So I'm not sure how this new thing is gonna work out for them, because they are changing a lot to appeal to a broader market rather than just like their loyalists who were like crazy loyal.
Okay, so you would say you've noticed a bit of a change with their sound?
I've noticed a bit of a change, yes.
Yeah, because that's actually, they did put out a PV. I did listen to it today, and I was like, this is very different from what I remember seeing.
A lot of people that like, they haven't made any of their previous stuff easy to get, but the people that have like had a chance to hear or see it one way or another, 9 out of 10 will say it's different from what they're doing now.
Yeah, I would say so. It's very parody K, the PV, like extremely parody K.
They've always been a parody K band, but it was a different type of parody K. Like they always used to be more Tanuki K.
Yeah. I would also say like the mystery is kind of. I'm wondering if they're done with like the mysterious aspect of themselves.
Yeah.
Because these guys, they just went right into it with this, and they're wearing like the same like super dope ass style that they had and everything like that. But it's like, this is the first single and the first PV, and they just go in like starting with that. No big introduction or anything like that, and they just like assume like, oh yeah, no, we dress like this all the time, and we're doing a goofy PV now, and that's that. So
in my opinion, they should have, and they really could have made the reveal more of a big thing. I think they kind of missed out on something with that, because like there have been people that were kind of like interested on, especially the vocalist, who he is, what he looks like, etc., because that's been like a big secret for a long time. Like they've never really released a proper video with him being in it, or even like proper photos. So
Yeah.
like for the most part, he's been like really secretive.
Well, they just continue
And
to subvert everyone's expectations, and I guess we'll see if that's
yeah,
for better or for worse this time. But this is definitely a big deal uh, because the stuff they have done was pretty. It was pretty insane, to be honest. Like this,
mhm.
some of the sounds. It was catchy at the same time. There was just like a ton of potential there, I guess. And then like their general attitude with like their lives and their aesthetics and stuff is just like there's a lot of like you could tell it's like okay, whatever's going on over there in that underground scene is like there's something pretty
But
crazy's
like
going on.
the thing is, like, I'm not 100% sure, but I think last year they were one of the closing bands for one of the venues at Kansai Rock Summit, and like that's a pretty big thing. Like, there's 5 venues, but that means 5 closing bands. And like at Rock Summit, there's usually like at least 100 bands. So to be one of the 5 closing one of the venues, it's a pretty big thing. And I'm pretty sure they were one of them last year, but they were a lot lower on the time schedule this year, which kind of surprised me to see.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I don't know. And like this PV is like very parody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Um,
Yeah, I want to see where they go from here. I don't know what to expect from them. Like, they're one of the only bands that I've had like any dealings with, which I can honestly say I don't know how they're going to do.
yeah, same. Like there's no like prediction I am even remotely interested in making for them. Like it's
Yeah.
just because God only knows. But it's just very interesting to
Yeah.
follow. So.
Like, they definitely have potential, but it's really depends on where they decide to go from this point on, or more so where their label decides to go from this point on.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
for
I'm
sure.
sure one of the reasons they've started going more public is because the label wants more than just that like limited income.
Yeah, yeah, probably. There's only so
Uh,
many days on the calendar to tour. You know.
yeah, but at the same time, like I said, they do run the risk of alienating some of those.
What if that? What? Oh man, what if that's like why the PV is just such a parody PV, even though it's their first one, is that it's the label that wanted the official single with the PV the promotional video for it, and the band themselves couldn't care less. They're just happy to play lives and do the live limited. So they
Who
were
knows?
like,
Like,
yeah, sure, fuck it, and but then they just went with a fuck it kind of concept instead of a we're really serious about our debut. It's like
who knows? Like, the thing is, a lot of people are cluing on that at the moment, like the parody K bands are quite popular, so it's a possibility that the label saw that and decided that that was the route to go down on. Since, like I said, I wouldn't have considered them parody K. I would have considered them more Tanuki K, and honestly, I would have considered them the inventors of Tanuki K. Um,
yeah,
so maybe the label saw that parody K is getting popular, so they just decided to like, kind of change that a little bit. But hey, it is what it is. I hope they can find the good meeting point between those two, like the new fandom and maintaining their loyalists. So best of luck to them.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, so that was the last of our personal picks for our favorite baby bands slash young bands slash new bands slash next bands in the next generation of Visual K. Lord, did you have any bands like that you would want to highlight?
fine. Well, you already mentioned my Rise boys, so that's good enough for me.
Oh, okay. All right. And we'll there will be more of your boys in a second, because there's definitely. So we're gonna go through.
I can probably stick around for like another 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm about to run through these bands really fast. These next bands that we have.
Yep.
So these are they're either.
I'm still here.
They're either. Oh, okay. Cool. So yeah, so we can marathon through these together then. So these are either bands that it's just like they're just very they're very popular. Like either like you see a lot of activity from them, or we got a lot of requests for them, or I happen to be bands that I happen to be aware of that they are baby bands, but they have a strong international interest. VKH has a section of readers and even some staff that are very interested in finding the smallest of the small, the newest of the new, that kind of a thing. And maybe not even that small or that new, but they're able to dig up like a lot of gems, and there really is a whole segment of international fans that are really into that. So kind of pulled from a little bit of that and got this nice little collection. So we can go through them.
Let's see who you got.
Yeah.
Like literally, my curiosity has kept me around much longer than I should have been. So.
Okay. Oh, Rubob's actually messaging me. Oh, I think she wants in on the Skype call. Winona, can you? No, you can't. I don't know if I can. Can I?
It sounds perfect if she comes in, but Lori said she's going in a few minutes. So.
Yeah, we'll just
have her hang out and chat for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're about to wrap up, I think.
Are we? Or are we just gonna?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest.
Just pull her in real quick and just be like, hey, yes, these are some of these bands that we really like, and let's get Revolve's opinion on this second half, because we got Lori's opinion on the first half, and like.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that's a fair way to go. I have no idea.
VKH Live. Fuck it. Yeah. So.
What's the structure?
Yeah.
If we could like get Rhubarb in, then go over like any of my bands that you have, and then like I can fuck off.
Yeah, that would be good. I can fuck off. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Love you, Lori.
Same. Sorry, Australian.
No, yeah, that's fine. I just was like, I immediately was like, oh yeah, that's fine, because I'm used to hearing that. But then I was like, oh wait, I'm live, and she just said, well, I can fuck off. So I'm like, just to be clear, we're not happy to see you leave. Wing it, says the chat. All right. Also, Lori, a nameless gula says, I love you.
Oh, the love goes back.
Oh. All right. So. All right, let's get this going. So first one we have is Sargia. I don't exactly know how to pronounce this name. Sargia is what I'm going for. I actually got requested to talk about this on one of my after hours streams, and then I also had some people bring them up on social media for this stream. And Winona and I have both listened to them. And I will say, for me, I think I had a hunch that they were going to kind of catch on with a certain group of people, a certain group of fans, just because they have a really cool aesthetic, and they're kind of playing in that. It's like a very shiny. Hello?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Sargia.
Oh, Sargia. Wow, I couldn't even say it. Wow, Sargia. Yeah, I at least I listened to them and I was like, like a band to keep an eye on, see if they're ready at some point. But people really like them already, so yeah. I mean, I have a bar set super duper high, so it's understandable.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty decent, like symphonic metal. For like decent for a baby band. This is like a very very baby band. I think. Like I'm not familiar with them
I
at
would
all.
consider these guys more or less a baby.
Yeah. So.
Can you guys hear me?
Yay! Yes. Hi, Rhubarb.
Oh, hi. I wasn't sure if I was in or not.
Yeah, you're in. You made it.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Rabob. It's Rabob. She's here. Yay.
So we just
Party.
we just wrapped up. Winona and I had picked out like 9 bands that we thought were kind of like the cream of the crop of like the younger bands, the baby bands. We have a slight, like, the definition's kind of loose because, like, as far as Lori gave a pretty solid industry definition that's kind of hard to disagree with, which is like, you know, it doesn't quite match up with like a lot of like what I'm, you know, what a lot of like international fans would call baby bands, like we're talking about Ceregia right now, which is very inexperienced, full of inexperienced band members, which we would all call a baby band. But then like you know, Dim Lim, for example, is only been around for a little over a year. I saw a lot of people referring to them as Dim Lim or as a baby band, whereas they may or may not be due to like the level of experience in the musicians, you know, like Kizu or Kizu. Kizu would be a better example.
More would be referred to as a baby band by like overseas fans, but not referred to as a baby band like in Japan because of all the history behind them. So
yeah. So
I basically like said a baby band, in my opinion, is a band with members that don't have much experience or much history in the industry that still need to find out their sound and how to work within the industry, and still need a lot of help, advice, and backing.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of basically just the next generation of visual K bands is the one thing that you could definitely call it. So we picked like our best of the, you know, our cream of the crop out of like these newer bands that, you know, are being called baby to some degree by someone. So we just went through our 9 of those, and Acme was one of those, by the way. We put them on the list.
Yeah. I'm looking through the chat, and like I really like the discussion that went on about some of the bands that were mentioned. I think it's really great. Of course, it's all like, it is all relative, right? Like, you can compare a band like, you know, Dim Lim or whoever to bands like Lunacy that have been around forever, and everyone's a baby in comparison to that, I guess, you know. And I intentionally like didn't define it because I just threw it out on social media and was like, you know, we'll see what people think baby bands are, and everyone kind of was on the same page in terms of the range. There were just it just like in terms of actually pinning it down, it's like I didn't feel like I didn't have the commitment level for this one to like be like I wanted to find baby band. Just like it's a very good colloquialism. We leave it at that. But I definitely, like, for industry purposes, Lori's definition's been very useful because it's giving me like a different perspective on you know, how hard I, as a reviewer, for example, may or may not want to be on certain bands, you know, like
we've kind of already established that before, but with Lori's definition of it, it helped us add a few more levels to the spectrum.
So that's pretty cool.
That's how I'll put that. Yeah, because like we're pretty hard on new bands, as we realize. It's just like fans point out like this band's pretty good. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, like Lapless, for example, like when I did my review for them, it was a positive review, but like what I was like evaluating was like the actual technical skill, a lot of it. But that was based on like the band members. And I didn't even realize I was doing that unconsciously. Compared to like, I don't know, someone like Mamireta, who's much more of a baby in nature, you know, I would be judging the concept.
Like they don't really emphasize technical skill. They emphasize what the F-ness of everything they're doing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we wrapped that up, and now we're about to marathon through a bunch of bands that I've put together that were either viewer requests or they were requested through social media, or.
And you have me for another 8 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got.
Ready.
Yeah. So
We've got a timer.
So this, so back into this Sarigia band. I don't know if there's a ton else more that I can really say about it, except I think the general sound is it's pretty decent, symphonic metal. They just need to develop it a little bit. I've got a bit of an echo coming from someone.
My headphones came out.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would say like for the screaming, the rough vocals, he needs to work on his rough vocals a little bit. But the aesthetic that they've got going on, especially like the fashion and stuff, like that's really going to appeal to a lot of people. So it'll be pretty interesting. Winona, you had said you were pretty meh on this band, right? Like.
Yep, because I remember I looked at there's a few bands that I've looked at like over the year and a half or something, and I was just like, nah. That's literally how I felt listening to the music or something. Like it didn't feel, I don't know if I could say original or if it didn't stand out to me enough. It's like there's some bands, like I think it's called Darian Martin. That band didn't stand out to me that much either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, there are just some technical stuff that just didn't work well, and then some things that I can't totally explain, because, like, I'm the kind of person to watch a music video once, and if I'm not impressed, I don't come back to it. So I didn't really go into why I didn't like it, but I should probably listen to why I didn't like it, so.
Okay. Yeah, Rubab, have you ever seen this band before?
I think I saw their like first promo images because they were very like attention grabbing, but I haven't listened to anything by them yet.
Yeah, I think I told Jeff, like they definitely have a formula to get people to attend. Just like their name is G, and that topic vibe going with their music and their heavy and all that stuff. So it's the perfect thing to be popular with the kids these days, right? But it didn't hit me. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Lori, I'm gonna jump over to like the bands that we have. It's just two that are from that are your bands, and then one additional baby band that I wanted to make you aware of if you weren't already, or maybe get your take on. So we will move on from Sarigia to Deviloof. So I mean, obviously, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe people watching aren't familiar with Deviloof, but if you're not, Deviloof is like the first really truly successful fusion of like deathcore and visual K that I've seen. It's like, if I want to jump right to the elevator pitch, that would be like the closest I could do. I guess you could make the argument that maybe Nocturnal Bloodlust did that for a little bit, but they're really more on the metalcore side. Deviloof's like, they are deathcore musicians. Yeah, they are what they are, but they come from a deathcore background. They have not lightened up since they, leaned into the visual K thing even more, or since the time that they've started as Deviloof as a visual K band. Actually, I think they might have gotten heavier with this last single, and it's very solid stuff. If you want some very brutal takes on some certain on some visual K sounds and styles, maybe. But it really is like, it's like a more, I would say just all that's come out of it is like a more open-minded version of deathcore, which deathcore itself isn't like super open-minded. So like any version of that is probably
gonna be okay as long as it doesn't turn into like, you know, the whole thing that Suicide Silence tried to do.
That was a disaster.
Deathwolf is quite an interesting band as well because, like, I was talking about like my definition of a baby band being like their level of experience and their level of history. Like Daiki, Keisuke, Hyoto, Seiya, they all have a lot of experience being in bands, but it's all been like deathcore bands. The only current member that has like any real long history in visual kei would be Ray, like the newest member on guitar. He has a lot of history, especially acting as support. He's done a lot of support work. But the bands that he did support work with, and even his own bands that he had, they were all like massive baby bands. So it's hard to kind of like really classify them as a baby band or not, because they do have experience, but it's just not like in the same industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
plus
for sure.
they've grown up really fast too.
So they're just babies to visual kei then.
Well, I think this is the same thing with Leap Speak Monsters that we have an issue where like it's like, are they a baby band or not? Because like with Leap Speak Monsters, they came out of a different genre of music too, because they've been around since like 2010, but they're like just starting out with visual kei as far as we're concerned. And with Deathloop, it's like they come from a different genre of music, kind of, and then they're also backed by Danger Crew a little bit now too, and like so is Acme. So it's like, is it that we're viewing them overseas, or we're viewing them as a baby band because they don't have a huge audience yet and they're still new, or should we just call them all young bands instead?
I will say that in the case of Lead Speak Monsters, you know, they're and they're, you know, they've been around a while, just not in VK, and like, you know, even their PVs and stuff, it looks like a lot of effort, maybe budget or something goes into it. I've seen some a recent live performance from them. I don't know what concert this was, but it was like multiple. It must have been from like a little while ago, because I think. Well, no, I'm actually not entirely sure. It was sometime in the last year or so. It looked like the recording was, but you know, it involved like a lot of like very small indie VK bands, and you know, they were being interviewed and they were performing. And one of those bands was Lead Speak Monsters. And like, I gotta tell you, like, for the vast majority of the bands that were playing there, and that includes like Lead Speak Monsters, like the audience, the general performance, the way they looked and acted and stuff like that, very baby feel to it. Like, so maybe like the PVs are made really well, and maybe like, you know, they have experience in another scene, but it's like when it gets down to it at the live performance, and it's like
that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you don't have the actual like support, you don't have the same size crowd as like an actual major band or something like that. I don't know how to word that, but
okay, guys, sorry, just to quickly jump in, I need to dip now, so catches.
Oh, okay, yeah, no worries.
So just send me the rest of the list. Sorry to be running off everybody.
No, that's okay.
Have fun.
That's fine. Take it easy.
Have fun at your thing.
All my things. Bye.
Bye.
I was saying, so I guess we should look at it more like, do they have the backing that they need, like the fans to support them and all that? Are they structured well? Because they could have history behind them and things like that, but if they don't have the same aura as a bigger band, or that would match with how much history they have as a band, then I guess they'd still be considered a baby band, because they're still growing and they haven't peaked yet.
Yeah, we'll see. I think everybody is pretty subjective about it still. So do we? Okay, so let me jump back to where I was then. So next up that I wanted to talk about was Dexcore. So this is, for anyone who's not familiar, this is the drummer of the ex-drummer from Death Gaze. Death Gaze is this is his band.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they are, the easiest way I could describe them is like they seem to be this either a crazy combination of, or they just haven't decided on deathcore, jetcore, metalcore. So
Yeah, I think they also have some other ex-members from other bands that are from like the same, from Magnolia K and stuff like that too.
are you at a store?
See, yes, I am. I'm sorry. I'll pause myself in a second. Which one?
No, it's okay.
Gosh, now I lost my train of thought, Jeff. You're gonna have to take it off.
Vocalist is free. You said the vocalist might be from somewhere?
Yeah, I don't remember where I was gonna say. I think he's just new, so never mind. I was thinking of a different band. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I would just say that I don't know. I've been trying to keep up with them the last couple singles because like I had an explanation for them because they had like their first PV that they dropped, and it was like this basically kind of like electronic core, but like with a more technical side. You could really hear the Death Gaze drummer like going wild and stuff. But then like the last few releases, it's almost been like a couple of all right, someone's whooshing really loud now. Is that you, Winona?
It might be me.
I put myself on mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was your Bob. It's all good. Yeah. So, but these last couple of releases, it's almost been like they tried to go a little bit more like Western metalcore or Western deathcore. So it wasn't like appealing to me quite as much. So they're just kind of operating in like the most modern of spaces that like you would associate with like Nocturnal Bloodlust or something like that, you know. So visual core, it's like the easiest way. So this band's completely new to you, Rhubarb? Rhubarb.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was popping in my headphones.
Oh, no worries. So is this band completely new to you? Or
Yeah, but seeing as I do like former Death Gaze members and new bands, it sounds promising.
Yeah. They are this would be one of 3 bands that's currently active that has former Death Gaze members in it. And I would say it's not the most like sure thing yet. I think it's up in the air, but it's like it seems like a very high risk, high reward kind of thing they're going for. Like if they can pull it off, maybe they could be like the Crossfaith of Visual K, but as in like whatever the Visual K version of that would be, like they wouldn't sound like Crossfaith. Or it could like explode into, you know, just turn into a train wreck. It just kind of depends. I just know a lot of people were really critical of, or I was seeing some criticism of like their last single, like they were going a little bit too much sounding like Western metalcore. But at the same time, like, you know, it's not all. I don't know. We'll see. I guess it's the easiest way is we'll see. I don't feel like confident making a statement one way or the other just because I need more. I need more to judge. But yeah. So speaking of Death Gaze members in new bands, we can move on to the other one I have on here, which is Darrell. Now this is who's the vocalist from Death Gaze. This is his current band. And this is what I've got playing right now is the PV for Darkness off of their first album that's coming out that is called Darkness. The album Darkness is spelled with an X for some reason instead of a K. So Darksness, I don't know. But I've watched the PV and listened to the song and listened to the album preview. And my general consensus on this is that I don't think we're going to see Death Gaze back anytime soon, because this album sounds like it's going to be
quick, Jeff.
what?
Real quick. I think that I told you before that I thought that Darrell was Death Gaze 2.0, because one of the songs on one of their other singles before, I think the single that came out just before this, had a B track, which was a cover of an old Death Gaze song.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that like it was I just taking the sound that they left off on from like Useless Sun and continuing with it, because they had started going in a different direction. It was just like darker Lark and CL. I really don't know how else to describe it other than that.
I mean, right now it's
gone on hiatus.
Right now it's thrash gaze is what it is. Like this is thrashcore, which is what they're doing. So they obviously
for sure.
He obviously wanted to go in a different direction, but I've definitely come around. I've come around to like kind of. I think I'm with you on that in terms of I think Darrell is Death Gaze 2.0 at this point, because
yeah, but and then with Dexcore it's just like, what if Death Gaze kept going in the direction of being darker Lark and CL?
Oh, okay.
I don't know how else to describe that. So if they started going, I don't think it's there. I think that I think the band went on hiatus for like a reason, because everyone started doing their own solo projects and they're all exploring themselves because they can do that, and they weren't exactly a major band, so they didn't have to stay together.
Yeah, put that in the bag.
And yeah, that's I feel. And as far as darkness goes, I think they just put an X just to look cool. So,
Yeah.
So just listening to that album preview, it's really interesting because it sounds like a Death Gaze album, except if instead of it being metalcore, it was thrashcore or thrash metal. So if you think of like Death Gaze with like some modern Slayer influences almost, that's what you're working with. So that's kind of I think that's just very interesting, because like just listening to like the singles they put out, I wasn't thoroughly convinced that this was anything beyond just him experimenting some more, experimenting some more, but it's really come together, I think. So this is going to be, so the album sounds really good, by the way. Like, I mean, it would have to, because I'm comparing it to a Death Gaze album, so.
I'm like scoping out their website right now. Their visuals are like really dark.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, they're and it's interesting because there's not a lot of thrash influences in Visual K, even on the metal side. So,
right.
But it's just these very clearly like thrash riff, thrash guitar riffs, like da 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 da, and but then like still with some breakdowns and stuff. So it's.
Well, I mean, he's got a flying V. He's not messing around.
Yeah, exactly. Like
What's happening between Jarrell and Dexcore is like what's happening between Acme and Laughless in terms of like bands either disbanding or going on eternal hiatus and doing their own thing individually. I think there was one more band. I think it was Oracle.
Oracleade,
Oracleade. That has like a former Death Gaze member in it. So,
Yeah, their Oracleade's vocalist is the ex-vocalist from EU Alive, so that was like a Nagoya K, marriage right there. Yeah, so
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out like what the status is on them, because it's been about a year and I haven't seen anything. But what they put out was so good, like their debut thing. So I'll have to report back on them, to be honest. But in terms of where all the Death Gaze people are, all the bands are still young, obviously. They did all kind of start around the same time. So I guess Death Gaze has been on hiatus enough for them, long enough that it's like they could have had a more established band, but they did all kind of start around the same time, and I would still consider them all pretty young. Dexcore kind of figuring themselves out. Darrell kind of has a foundation to build on. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Next band is Iolin, which is a big fan favorite, I think, for a lot of people, a lot of international Visual Kei fans that like to find like the smaller bands. This has become one of the larger of the smaller bands. And this is the one where the vocalist plays violin and he also plays guitar and piano and sings. Yeah. Also, the name is a pun. Do you get the pun, Revav? Iolin?
I play violin.
Or, well, it's spelled Aiolin. So it's a Japanese pun in an English romanized name.
What?
Yeah.
Don't question it. Just go with it. Just accept it. Because if we question all the band names,
it's
we're
violin,
lost.
but instead of VI, it's AI, like the.
But that's not a pun. That's just a.
It's just a play on words. Just a play on letters. Like, just things.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Is it not a pun? It's a. Everyone was saying it was a pun.
What's the vocalist's name?
I don't know.
Dang, Jeff.
Hikarito.
Oh, I was gonna say
Hikarito.
art
Hikarito.
violin. Maybe that's what it is. Art and violin smashed together.
Yeah. Yeah. So, from what I've seen, they've been steadily improving. It's not really, the music they put out is not really something I'm personally into, but it's definitely one of those things that I can like kind of see, like people being like way into. It's like softer, lighter, kind of romantic, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. This PV that I've got up playing right now, by the way, is like the look, the style that they have figured out, especially the vocalist, is like, it's really on point. Like they've got an image nailed down hardcore at this point. So
No, yeah, their concept was pretty cut and clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they've just kind of kept going with it. The vocalist speaks English, I think, so that was something that attracted a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like they're softening up, unless this was just like a one-time thing, because I think this PV was like from their most recent release, and I know they haven't been the heaviest band, but this even more so was like, I don't want to say the K word, the K name, but like it was because it doesn't sound like him, but it was in that more romantic, symphonic kind of sound. I think, so I love pun, so I am mildly offended. Hey, I'm sorry, okay? Everyone was sharing it, calling it a pun, so you have to blame the general public.
It's not really a pun. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna switch this letter upside down and haha. So yeah, but I must say I like their stylist. Like whoever is styling them is doing a pretty nice job of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Looks
I feel
expensive.
like they're on their own right now.
10 out of 10 would hire.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely a stylist put this together or something. This is very, very good.
Yeah.
So someone's dropping them dollars.
Really.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah. I mean, I would never I wouldn't blame any Visual Kei band for wanting to like drop extra money to go into the image, like
That's half the business.
yeah, exactly. It's half the concept. Like yeah. So yeah, hopefully I can listen to a little bit more Island and we can comment on them more, because there's always the chance that they're really going to break out, as time goes on. Like this has 78,000 views and it came out like at the last day of March. So that's not nothing, and like there are other, there were related stuff I want to say, or their past stuff's gotten a bit of traction, I think. Yeah, they're getting there a little bit. Like Remember the Name it's like pushing 100,000. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on them. All right, now we have Monstlo, which is
This is a baby band.
They're totally on their own, man.
Yeah, okay, yeah. This is like
100% on their own.
if Kizu can't be the official baby band, like at least by Lori's definition, it's Monstelo. Because these guys are 8,000% on their own.
Yeah, like their visuals have very low production, but their music is amazing for what it is. Like for what they have as their resources, they're really good.
Yeah, and some of their stuff's up on Apple Music. I would recommend checking it out. They started pretty much as they've been around for a little bit as under a different name called Masked Liar, and then they renamed.
Yeah.
They renamed themselves and the music changed substantially, and that's so I'm kind of treating them as a new band in that sense.
Well, they were around in a more romanticized way. Like Masked Liar had like this more romanticized concept, and then when they changed their name to Monstlo, like they just went heavier, they went darker, and they just went more experimental too, because all their music has taken different directions in a way so far, but it still keeps that slick sound. So
it's kind of like I would almost say it's like a slightly more melodic version of Dataroma's take on metalcore, where it's it can hit really hard and then it can pull back and it can be mixed and mashed with like a whole bunch of different like genres, except for them it's even like less it's slightly less aggressive, slightly less outright offensive, the metalcore sound, I guess, like because with Dataroma it's just they bash you over the head with their metalcore sound. Monstelo, they can kind of turn it down a little bit, and the vocalist's voice, I would say I'm even more of a fan of. So
yeah, with Dataroma, they're more trashy. Like we established that they're the trash band in a good way, and then with Monstelo, they're like. It's like they took away the trashiness of it. Like,
well, I have to. We have to make that specification because I am showing the PV for Big Mouth March. So.
No, but like even Big Mouth March, like even that, like that's missing something that Dataroma puts into their music videos.
Yeah.
And then when you see like Monstlo's newer stuff and you see like their live PVs, it just feels cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. It just feels like it's something you could probably show your parents. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what really amazed me was like when I started hearing stuff like "Can You Hear Me," which they have a lyric video for on their channel here, but like it really amazed me that they were just how compatible their sound suddenly was with all of these other styles. So they ended up having this kind of metalcore pop ballad, which came out after their first I guess it was an EP or something they put out, and so at that point that's when we got tipped off that I was like, okay, they are really versatile for such a new band, for such a baby band. So and then now the PV I'm showing right now, they are in the process of wrapping up a 3-month. Consecutive monthly singles campaign, where they basically went from genre to genre, and this was the first genre, which was basically pop music and electronic music, and so they did pop music mixed with their sound, which is again like this kind of melodic metal or metalcore sound, and then they did jazz. Mixed with that, and now they're doing punk mixed with that. So, yeah. So it's I strongly recommend this band. They're about as indie of a band as I follow, and they make good stuff. They're not afraid to experiment. I don't think the stuff that they're experimenting with is like particularly much. Is as good as like the stuff when they like stick to their guns, but the fact that it's coming out pretty decent, at least from what I've heard, is when it's very obvious that they're kind of on their own with this. And like Winona said, like we really suspect that they dumped the majority of their budget into like their production, just because you know, they are doing so many different.
Their audio production, not their visual production. That one of the music videos they put out recently.
Yeah, their
like,
audio
when
production.
they're walking through the streets, I was like, no.
Yeah.
For the music video.
Yeah, that's the one I'm showing. They actually posted the completed version of it, which is they put out a to be continued version. This is how you know it's really like a baby band. Is I think what happened.
Like it's like iPhone shot.
No, well,
like,
yeah, you
like,
can tell that, but here's
the edits. They put wow instead of whoa, and I'm just like, no.
Well, not even that. Not even that. Like that, because that's we've seen weirder before. But like what's really going on that's like, oh wow, this is like especially small is that first part, this first part here where they're walking and stuff. They posted this like 3 months ago, right? And then it just kind of trails off into a to be continued part. Let me see if I can get to it in the PV. We're about to get to it. Yeah, they're walking into the venue right now, like where the vocalist just waved. And then at this point, the PV cut off. But they just released this is literally called the completed version of the music video because they filmed that live and then used that to complete the rest of the PV. So
yeah, no, like that's yeah.
Yeah, so they're like really they're really doing
expected.
it. They're doing it really
not
DIY.
even that. Like from that incomplete version, like those edits, just how it was filmed, like
yeah,
that's a baby band. Like if they had the equal amount that they could put into their audio production, their music video would have been better. They could have at least shot it in a warehouse. That's how I feel. Because all the music videos we've seen so far have been like shot with stark white backgrounds or were live TVs. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point where it's like, I'm like, screw it, like, do it, do whatever, it's fine. Because they seem to be okay with doing whatever, and if they want to fail a little bit, I think it's okay for them to fail a little bit. But the overall sound of the potential is definitely there. So yeah. Definitely going to be interested to see like what happened, like what they have planned in store for like a next full album or a next EP, any sort of long form release. Will be very interesting to see. Rhubarb, do you have any comments on Monstelo, or is this
I'm
news to
like
you?
listening to this video as you're playing it. And I mean, they look really young and really inexperienced to me, but I don't know if I can say that their production has a lot of investment put into it, but I think like they have the basics down. Like they have a good sound in terms of what they've created with it. So I think if they develop the electronic element a little bit more, we'll have something really good here.
Oh no. When we said that they were investing a lot of money into their music production, we meant for their core sound, which would be like that.
Right.
That Big Mouth March video. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't ever see them come back to that electronic sound. Like, to be completely honest, you know, like that was one of 3 different, like, I can send you the, I sent you the music video on Facebook for that's like their more core sound. And that is just like, it's just comparing the quality of the PV compared to the quality of the song. It's like it was just kind of a moment where we were like, okay, I think we know where the priority was, because the song slaps and it's got 6 figures, you know, it's got over 100,000 views on YouTube. So but then the quality is like of a video that like should only have 2,000 views or something. So that's more where that was. Yeah, I should have clarified that, but
well, no, I can see that across both things. Like,
right.
I can still tell it's the same band. So like, I don't know, they do have a distinct sound to them between both tracks anyway. But yeah, I don't want to watch this video. It's like hurting my face.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed, I just realized, was that we don't have the band on this list because we didn't have time to add them. LA Bait, like they did the opposite of LA Bait because LA Bait put in like all their money into the PP, actual music video, and like not enough into the audio.
Oh,
but
God.
then Monstro put in like all their money into the audio and then like none into the music video.
Maybe
So,
we
yeah.
shouldn't say the audio production. Maybe they just like they put all their money into all their resources into their sound. Because if they have a distinct sound and they don't sound like trash, but then the videos are like, you know, obviously like kind of need work. Like, maybe that's a more appropriate way to say it.
This video is painful to watch.
I kind of love it though.
No, I hate it. I'm sorry, Jeff. Your love is false.
No, she's talking about Big Mouth March, right?
What are you guys watching think about this video? Because I think both of the videos were really terrible. This one really takes the cake. Like this is probably
You're talking about
the
the Big Mouth March one, the
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is supposed to be demented Mickey Mouse vibes, but it's really, really badly done.
I know, but that's kind of why I love it. Is that I feel they just like leaned into it.
Jeff is sadist. He's a sadist. He
No, I'm just amused. I'm amused about a visual K band that will say "fuck you" to the visuals to this degree. So just to a certain extent.
To the nth degree. No, it's so that's really ironic, right?
It's
they
funny.
put in all their money into the music, which is smart because that's what people are there for. But they're also equally there for the visuals, right? And they haven't.
Just don't make a video.
In the visuals yet.
Just don't make a video.
I'm a visual K band, but I don't have any music videos. Like, could you imagine?
Oh, so
Rabob is hurting. Rabob is hurting so much, but Monstro is so good, Rabob. You could just not watch the video. You could just watch our live stream. Oh wait, but that has the video on it.
Right, that's what I'm looking at.
All right, I'll get off of it.
All right.
Okay.
I think this band has more promise. They have more promise if they just hire better video people, because
they didn't hire anyone. It's just them and their friends.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure. Wait, here's your keys. Put your keys here.
Okay, so wait, sorry. What was the? Are you serious?
That I said it was probably just them and their friends.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
God. This is how small this band is. Like this is I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Definitely.
I don't know what to tell you, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a huge reaction in the VK industry of sound over style, because we've had so long of style over sound, you know. I wouldn't be shocked if you see a bunch of like indie DIY, you know, visually questionable bands suddenly making really good music. Because talking with certain people, including fans and artists, like if you listen to the stream we did with Shola, I did with Shola back in the spring, there's definitely a group of people in the scene that are like, all right, it's been way too many years of, you know, style over substance, I guess. So I wouldn't be shocked, to be completely honest, if that ends up happening. I don't know if that's what's happening here with Monstro, but you know.
Yeah, like I said, inverted LA bait. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Okay, so next band is Arkemi.
Yes, Arkemi. That's it. Okay. Yeah, they're a really good band. They are signed to the Crow Records, I think.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, they're visuals. They improved their visuals so much.
Yeah.
So much. I think Jeff was like hair goals, and I was like, I want that hair for my wedding.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm impressed by these guys. I think they're a little rough around the edges. But that's actually what got me thinking. Is I was like, you know what? These sound very. They sound good in spite of the fact that they're very, what is it, rough? It's not that they're rough, it's just that it's underground. Well, it's like, yeah, it's underground, but it's also like, there's a lot of darkness, a lot of black. So it's like underground black rock. And then that's when I realized that this band reminds me a lot of Aoi, which was, that was their slogan. It was like something like the black underground rock or something like that.
Okay, but this is how you make a low budget music video.
Right, though,
Yeah.
Jeff? You want to say that band name right? Owie?
Aoi?
Owie?
It's not Aoi.
Owie.
It's not Aoi.
Owie.
But this is how you do a low budget music video. Like, this is it.
Not
This is-
Monslow.
No, this is the right way. Like,
Monslow does no budget music videos, and Arkane does low budget music videos.
it's good. I think it's great. It really showcases their live experience, and
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really.
The-
I like
really
this
good.
band.
The flip side, the twist, the different thing with them is that they're like if Aoi did Visual K, Angara K,
Right.
like, and not like, just the dark, grungy underground side of things. So you do get like, and really authentic like Angara K styles of sound, but then mixed with this rougher, darker underground rock. So works out really well. Would definitely recommend them. So let's go ahead and jump to the next one. Maybe we can speed through these a little quicker. So this next one is Xiaomi. So Xiaomi is actually, like, if you look at the view count here and the view counts on their videos, they pick up a lot of attention. They're just a band I was just fairly agnostic about until recently. Like, specifically until they recently put out this video. So this is I don't know. Do you guys have any preliminary thoughts on Xiaomi before I get mine? Because I'm still trying to make my mind up.
They
I
just
haven't-
started getting it together as a band.
Oh,
So yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Like, as a sorry, thank you. They only recently we started like really paying attention to them as a good band, right? Like a band that was extremely notable, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they put out one of those music videos. I forgot what it was called, but it had like all the writing on the walls and on the band members. And
Yeah,
red
that's
and
the
stuff.
one I'm
Like, not that they weren't good, but
Yeah, that's the one I'm showing.
like they weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't stand out from the crowd. They just kind of struck as a soft indie band, and now they're striking as a hard
Yeah, they've had a
band.
following, a strong following,
for a while.
for a while, but just like none of their sounds like sounded like anything new that like we hadn't heard from other bands, I guess. So maybe it was like in their lyrics or their concepts, because they were getting like really high views for doing sounds that I thought weren't all that original. It's not like it was like they were beating dead horses or anything, but it's like, oh, like this reminds me of some of the crazy stuff Pentagon would do back in the day, or like stuff like that. So I don't know. This one's an interesting band to keep an eye on. They're going to be around. They've been around for a few years, but they seem to kind of be maturing in their style a little bit, in terms of just making more original content. I'm definitely fence riding them, but on them, but I definitely wanted to just like bring them up and just make people aware of them, that this is a pretty notable band at this point. So we'll see where they go. But Rhubarb, are you familiar with this band at all?
yeah. I remember checking them out a couple years ago. I didn't really have any, solid impression of them back then, but I like what they're doing now. I think they have come a long way.
Yeah. So, okay, let's jump into the next one, which is Tensai.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah. So, Tensai is
one of the leading Tanuki bands, as Lori informed us on previous streams, and they're pretty hilarious. They do quite a bit of parodying of visual kei culture. Here in this video, I'm showing they are parodying that like gothic symphonic style of visual kei. And you'll see in a bit it's going to change drastically into some other wacky crazy shit, but they just do all kinds of really fun hilarious stuff that circles around drama, like hence the Tanuki moniker that they've apparently been given. They do like a lot of PVs based around like similar thing as Reiten Ichigram no Gosan with like bandmen getting in relationships with fangirls or groupies, and but they very much like play it out in their PVs, and their songs are about it and stuff like that. So it's very amusing. Let me see if I can skip ahead here real quick so you can kind of see. It gets kind of wild all of a sudden really fast. Same music video, no big deal. But they're just really all over the place, really goofy, really silly, and they're fun. So, any other comments?
I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty wonderful.
Okay, I got to the parody part.
You'll see I'm a Perfect Bandman drop down at some point.
I love this. They really are geniuses.
Yeah, they're pretty great. By the way, Winona, I think there's some Scasper members in here in this PV, this Maria PV. Have you watched?
Who are we talking about?
Tensai with that.
Yeah.
I'm a Perfect Bandman.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that. I remember that PV. That went in like a million different directions in one PV.
Yeah. Did you notice there's some members from Scasper in there? I think
in the party scene, right?
Yeah.
Casper is like the party band, first of all, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. We'll get to them.
Casper. I don't know if they're still around.
They are. Yes, they are. But.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to them. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. This is okay. So this is the band I need to make a note to show to Lori. So this is a band that I thought was an interesting deep cut. Mm-hmm. Winona, can you mute yourself? Cooking mama over there.
I suck at cooking. Everything's noisy. I'm really trying my best.
Yeah. So this is called Azalea. This band, and I want to show them to Lori, see what she thinks, because if Rides and Rebellion's ever looking for a kohai band for them to be a senpai band to, I feel like this would be a good one. All the way down to the PV they're playing in, or to the PV to the warehouse they're playing in for the PV. They kind of do like a symphonic metal equivalent to Rides and Rebellion's symphonic rock take. So it's like how Rides and Rebellion does like an electronic version of symphonic rock. Well, it's like they kind of do an electronic version of symphonic metal, but they're only a year old. And they're a little rough around the edges, but there's definitely potential there. And I could definitely see why this reader who replied with this they just made a point of saying it's like I've been following them for a year. They've only been around for a year, and I'm pretty into them. So I definitely wanted to raise them, put them on people's radar if nobody heard of them before. Like I said, it's definitely a little rough around the edges, but it's pretty solid for what it is, and. I'll listen to a little bit more of their music, I think, and see how it goes, and see what I think. Would be interesting to see. I at least subscribe to them to see what their future music looks like. So, I don't know if you guys have any comment. I'm guessing this was a deep cut. I just happened to get thrown my way, so
I don't know if you guys have seen this band at all.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. So, yeah, there's that. So, who's next? Here's another one that's probably like a nope for, or like a haven't heard of for a lot. It's definitely a nope for Rhubarb. Like
Off the bat, nope isn't. She's not interested. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
Rhubarb be like, call me when you got some views, fam. You know,
Call me when
whatever.
you get 10K views in a day. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I ain't got time for
she's like, you ain't
everybody,
wrong,
you know.
fam. She's like, you ain't wrong.
Yeah, well, she can't deny it now. It's what happens when you get.
Look at her list.
It's what happens when you get so successful. You have to start turning people. You have to start admitting how willing you are to turn someone down.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen. I work with Miyabi now. You
Yeah.
know.
This is true. She does.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like she's up there. You know. It's like, all right, if you ain't getting Miyabi number.
Yeah, it's
Joking.
just kidding. We're all
No,
JKing, guys. Yeah. Anyway, so this band is
funny.
called Ramiel. I think.
Oh,
I
I've
hope this
heard
is
of them.
Ramiel.
How do you spell it?
Let me.
How do you spell it?
No, it's I don't read kanji, and I just want to verify I picked the right band here. That I've got it.
Oh God. Oh God, I can't even look because I'm in the kitchen. That sucks. Okay. Well, hey, chat, is Jeff pronouncing it right? And then Bob, could you read the chat? Because I don't trust Jeff.
No. It's I don't read kanji, so I don't remember if this band is Ramiel.
Lamia is what I think you're talking about.
Ramiel.
Yeah, that's Ramiel.
Ramieru, maybe in
Yeah,
Japan.
Not if it's spelled with the. I would trust that if they took the time to use the alphabet.
Okay, well, either
it
way,
would be
I just wanted to
Ramiel.
bring them up because it sounded kind of interesting.
think
That
I've heard
like
of them.
the music that they had was pretty interesting. It's kind of light and a little intricate. I didn't get a chance to look into them a ton, but I did see someone had mentioned it. Unfortunately, they have disbanded, so just had to throw one of those on here, I guess. You know, but you know, since I already had them on the list, I was like, well, screw it. You know,
Oh, I got it.
might as well.
Okay. I'm gonna go. My phone is about dead, so I'm gonna have to go.
Do you want to do one more because the next one is Scasper?
Yeah, hurry.
Okay, so now we're doing Scasper.
Yes,
I
love them.
Sell us on Scasper, Winona.
Okay, Scasper. They don't have too much out as a band, and they've also only recently started really being super active, like with music videos, because like whenever they're active I only see them doing a ton of lives, but they come out with a music video like once every like 3 months or so. Unfortunately, Mr. Mary left Gasper, and I'm so sad because he was like trap god to the band.
Yeah, he was their
See,
DJ
he
/
was-
rapper.
He was their rap god. He was, though, because like when you look at what was it, Merry Men? That was one of his music videos. That was a hilarious music video. But yo, that beat was fire, though.
Was that the one with the Japanese girl that was rapping with them?
Yeah. It was beautiful, Mr. Merry and My Men. It was great. It was a great video. Scasper, I fell in love with them because of their Halloween music video. I shouldn't say fell in love, but like that music video, like it pulled something in my heart where I was like, "Yo, this band has so much potential." But they're so small, and you know they're only so active, and not a lot of people. And their SEO it's improved over time, but it's not the best because really it's Casper, right? Because it's $ Casper, and Casper the friendly ghost. Yeah, but their music it's like, I think their first music video was about being bullied on social media and how that can lead to, you know, someone killing themselves, because that's what the whole music video is about. It shows this girl and how she interacts with people online, and how those interactions lead to her going through this like mental breakdown. She tries to kill herself through a bunch of pills, and at the end of the whole thing she ends up hanging herself. But the way they executed that music video was amazing, and the way that that song was written was awesome. Not that the subject is exactly the best thing, but it was a good music video. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was Chemical or something like that.
That's
third music video,
shockingly deep for them.
I know.
I've got the Halloween
video,
music
right?
video up right now, so it's like compared
Yeah,
to that.
that was
yeah.
that was Halloween no Yutsu, right? That's their second one, and the
Mm-hmm.
third one was Bakemono, which is ghost, right?
Yeah.
And that one was really cool, but it wasn't to the same level as the Halloween no Yutsu, because there's just something about them like walking through the street with a bunch of people around them and doing that whole party scene where I was just like, this is dope. But then with Bakemono, it's like typical warehouse PV. Like, that's how it hit me. I don't know how else to talk about that.
Yeah.
But the colors were really spot on, and I really enjoyed the visuals.
Yeah, I will say the easiest way I can describe this is if a bunch of Visual K roadies like broke into a band's. You got a little bit of background noise there.
I know. I'm about to pause.
Okay. I would say that the easiest way that I can describe Scasper is if like a bunch of roadies for a Visual K band like broke into the supplies closet for those bandmen and just started doing a bunch of crazy ass jam sessions like in the middle of the night.
Oh God.
Which is yeah. That would be...
Yeah, that's accurate, because every music video kind of strikes me as a jam session.
Yeah, it's all
it's
pretty.
really like they're really.
It's pretty rough around the
free-spirited.
edges, even the sound,
They're
like the
pretty
mixing.
free-spirited,
But
yeah.
it's
It's
fun.
hard to describe it, but
Yeah.
I don't know what direction they're gonna go in now that their digital guy is gone. But yeah, it was pretty dope while it lasted. Like they're still pretty dope, I think.
Yeah. So they're fun. They're worth checking out if you want to check them out. Okay, so the next one I wanted to bring up at least was a band that Sophia had actually written an article on. It was it's Kaito Sentai Nusumunja. Oh, I don't know if I said that right. Kaito Sentai is what everyone knows him by.
You wanna spell it out for me and Rabab to attempt to say, or at least for me to attempt to say and Rabab to actually say?
No, I'm just going with it.
That doesn't sound right.
Nusumunja.
Nusumunja.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Everyone calls him Kaito Sentai, so I'm going with Kaito Sentai.
Yeah, let's go with Kaito Sentai.
Yeah.
Let's go with what everyone knows.
Yeah. So.
Tried and true.
Yeah. You know, now that I've like, you know, gotten to interact with or like covering bands like Acme, you know, and then I go back to Kaito Sentai. I'm getting to the point where it's like I almost am going to be like, look, if there's not a easy romanization, it's like I'm trying to come up with like a better way of like dealing with it besides just being like, well, I can't pronounce it, so here we go. But we'll see. Yeah. So Sophia wrote an interesting article. It's called "How to Parody a Parody: Kaito Sentai's Own Version of Reiten Ichigram no Gosan," and so basically, this band parodies other parody K bands, or just other visual K bands in general. I believe they tried to parody Pentagon actually, and there was some controversy or something. Like they're a little controversial because it's like, okay, you see how they look right here? Well, here's the band that they're parodying.
No, they what they did was they took the music video that Reite Ichigram no Gosan did, which was like the most popular one from that band at the time, right? And then they were like, okay, so instead of the bandmen like playing the girl, what if the girl is just freaking crazy and gets revenge on the bandmen. Like, what if they flipped the script on what?
Yeah, but
did.
this is not the only band they do that for. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
I know,
Yeah.
but like that as an example, they flipped the script on like a bunch of bands and like inverted the plot, so their parody is just like a straight up inverse of everything.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I don't know how sustainable of a format that is, and I think the fact that they've already run into a bit of trouble with that. I mean, I could already imagine that there would be trouble, you know, just because it is very much like. I don't know if those are too similar, but like. When you're parodying someone's parody, it's like, oh, I don't know. Like, it's a little. What point does it become copying? You know, I would have to listen to them a little bit more and report back to really make a judgment call myself.
Well, then you have to ask, what is Ray-Tay parodying? You know, what aside from daily life, they're taking example from life and making music from that, and then Kaito Sentai doing those parodies is like how Scary Movie does parodies of actual scary movies.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like those original Scary Movies, they're not parodying something that's owned by someone that could sue them over that. Whereas Scary Movie, you know, they would get sued if they didn't have, you know, the license to use certain brands or make the case here in only America that it falls under free use. So over in Japan, they don't have that at all. You know?
Yeah. So, but the fact that they're getting away with it, I have no idea.
Yeah,
it's not like 100. It's copying to an extent. I'll give it that because like there's like everything is so blatant that it's definitely like some of it's straight up copying and only like changing like one very significant detail. But I don't know.
Are you familiar with this band at all, Rhubarb, or these situations they get into?
I think just like I've only seen one video and it was a parody video and it was. I mean, I think it's really well done and maybe they're trying to be the next Golden Bomber.
Do you mean it was like well done as in like what? Like it was funny, or it was they were pretty accurate about like who they were parodying?
Oh, they were friggin' accurate as hell, but like the way it was done is just I don't know. I thought it was done
so
really
obvious.
Well.
So obvious.
But I've only seen one video, so it could have just been that one.
I think you saw the Ray-Tay one, the Ray-10 one, where they were parodying that one because I remember that one up in our Facebook group. And there were just comments.
And that's a great band to parody. I mean, that band is pretty silly, so.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. So, okay, just, let's see. We can move on to the next one, which was Vivarush.
And real quick before I leave.
Yes.
On Vivarush, since Lori said that they were releasing 2 mini albums, right? Mm-hmm. This was the band. Artery and Vein reminds me of how the Gazette did like their limited edition of Division, and one disc was Artery and one disc was Vein. And with that, I'm gonna go.
Oh, bye. You just dropped some knowledge on me. All right, bye.
I did, yeah. Bye.
Yeah. If that's true, that's an outright homage to the Gazette, from what I understand about Taiji's influences. He's very influenced by the Gazette's take on electronic music. So that's interesting. But yeah, Vivarush.
I like this release a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was very. They took a risk, went in a different direction, and they made it work really well. The PV is really cool, and yeah, I gotta get the album, man. Like, I'm really curious how, how a full Vivarush album would sound, you know. But I know a lot of our viewers really like
a full album yet. Or
sorry, what?
Do they have a full album out yet?
it came out at the end of June, apparently, according to the PV.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Duh, I need to read. Wow. Yeah. Gotta
Yeah,
get
I meant to talk to Lori about it, but yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just going to be really interesting to see where they go, because it's very obvious they have talent and personality, and all of that.
Can we just talk about those barbed wire headbands for a second?
Wait, which ones?
the one on the left has Mickey Mouse ears made out of barbed wire.
Oh no, really? Oh.
I just noticed this. I've watched this video a few times and I just noticed this.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff like that in here. We paused it a few times.
They're a treasure.
Yes, they're great. All right, next one is Grimoire. I know they've been around a few years, so they're really pushing the baby status, I think, at this point. But I think they're still kind of got a bit of a niche following, I guess. They just have a really interesting concept. I would say that really is what kind of throws them into the next generation of Visual K. Just their core concept of the vocalist is like a kid going to sleep, and then like all of the instrumentalists are like the nightmares or the dreams that like he's having. That just always really interested me. The music they initially made was not really my thing, but I've gone back a few times and listened, and I'm being won over, I guess. Especially their newer stuff is like really solid. But I really need to sit down and like give them a fair shake more than anything. But I definitely know they've noticed they picked up a bit of traction, and they're winning a lot of new fans lately. So definitely a notable band for sure. Do you have any familiarity with Grimoire at all, Rhubarb?
I think I've seen this song once.
Oh, okay.
To watch. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about them too. Yeah, need to watch more. How long have they been around? A little while now.
A couple years, maybe 3 years. I don't know if it's 3 years actually. Let's see.
Very nice.
Yeah, so they're but it's a very unique sound and concept, I think. So there's definitely there's definitely a potential. Like obviously there's potential, but like there's definitely like a lot of unique material to work with there, and that's kind of what I realized as I like followed them a little bit more closely. Nameless Gula says the PV for Gloomy is my favorite. Yeah, our viewers really like Grimoire, by the way. So they were. If I hadn't already been like looking into them, I would have. But before we started doing live streaming, so that was around the time I decided to investigate a little more. I probably would have, just from talking to some of our viewers and stuff. Rob, do you want to make an announcement maybe for something that might have just happened?
For another baby band, yes.
Hold on.
Their new piece of
Hold on. Can you say that again?
Yeah,
you cut out for a second.
Oh, the Acme just dropped their new PV for Zeshouka. It's the title track of their new album. I'm gonna put the link in the chat box, but you guys can check it out. Remove web address. I will search Acme Japan in YouTube, and they'll come up.
Oh man!
But the great thing about this video is it has official English subtitles. The lyrics are translated into English. Zeshouka itself translates to Song of Celebration, and so yeah, it's a really great track. So check it out.
Yes, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, it's on Facebook too.
Yep, Acme has a Facebook page. Search Acme Japan, it'll come up. Yes.
Awesome. I think Asuka got it figured out in the chat.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next band, actually, I was gonna have Winona here for this one. I forgot about this. It was More. Are you familiar with More at all, Rhubarb?
Who's it? It's like one of the members of Ichini's in here, I think.
Yeah, it's multiple people. It's let me pull it up. It's well, Loki is the vocalist and he's from Sugar. The bassist is from 12012, however you say it, Ichi for short, I guess. Yeah. And then their drummer's been in a lot of bands, and what was it? Oh, their drummer is Yune from the Gazette. So, wow, yeah, I keep forgetting that.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if he's still there. If he's still in More, but he's yeah, that's where Yune ended up. So, but More is very cool. They're a very cool band, very trippy band, very. They're like good indie music. Kind of reminds me of like, I don't know what bands you'd throw in that category. That's like, it's like good indie music, like by anyone's standards, not even just Visual K. Like I think of bands like, you know, that's kind of how everyone thought of like Nine Goats Blackout. That's how a lot of people think of. That's how I think of Lip Lick, or just like that very like authentic. It's not even like good indie. It's like authentically indie. Like it feels like a band that you just stumbled upon inside of like a well, I would say a coffee shop, but in Moore's case, it's like you stumbled upon it inside of a Buddhist temple or something. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking them out because it's very difficult for me to kind of condense their sound personally, just because I'm still going through it, and it's very deep. It's very to kind of go through, but it's very nice. It's very trippy.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Asuka said that the members and their staff got into a car accident recently. What?
Yeah, I saw that. I was trying to find more info on it. I need to talk to Winona about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, hope they're all right. It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
But
yeah, well, sometimes it's like, you know, you want to see like hopefully they're okay, you know, but sometimes I'm not sure, like when someone reports it like super early, like if it's like a bad problem or if it's like you know, like if it's just like oh, that sucks, I'm glad you're okay kind of thing, you know.
yeah, hopefully I'll get more information soon.
Yeah. So this next band is called Verge. Oh god, I hope it's Verge. I'm doing this again. Yeah, it's Verge.
Yeah, it is.
It's Verge.
It is.
Yeah, so this was another one that a couple people had mentioned, and I'd also like found stumbled across myself on my playlist a few times. They're pretty solid, to be quite honest. It's like they're just doing like a decent indie rendition of like a passionate like I'm trying to put my finger on exactly who it reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of like the old school thing that Cloud was tapping on, like at the beginning, like old school Cloud. Like they were getting into like this like almost new metal kind of passionate kind of Visual K that was still catchy.
It's kind of like that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe someone in chat can help me kind of what their music reminds me of. I don't want to say the Gazette because like it's that could mean a lot of things at this point. It's not. It doesn't really narrow things down much. It's just very engaging. It's very it's put together pretty well. At least this PV that I had seen, and I want to check out more of them. But I know a few people have found them, and definitely a baby band from what I understand. So just wanted to throw them out there.
Yeah, they don't
briefly.
even have 1,000 subscribers yet. So
Yeah, but they have 35,000 views, on their videos. So it's like they are showing up in a lot of my YouTube mixes. So YouTube's doing a good job promoting them around. Next one is Breaking Holiday, which is Jury and Aggie, previously of Delohi fame. It's their new band. This is more than anything. This is just to remind people that this exists because I'm not aware of anything new from them since the last time we talked about this, which was in an episode of VKH Breakdown. This came out at the beginning of the year. It's just a lyric video, but it is. If you miss Jury singing from Delhi, they do have a single out called Lilith, and yeah, I'm on their website. I'm not seeing anything else, so hopefully we see more from them soon. Yeah, it was like pretty decent, like metalcore kind of a thing, kind of a sound, and that's all I have to go on for that one for now. But yeah,
this is interesting.
yeah, Winona did an excellent analysis of this actually because it's she's familiar with the backstory of like this song. So it's called Lilith, and it's basically based off of like apocryphal biblical stories, which as in like Bible stories that were left out of the Bible when it was being assembled because they were deemed to be like heretic or like false. And so one of those stories was about Lilith, who was like the other Eve to Adam and Eve. And it's about, I'm trying to remember the exact story, but it goes something along the lines of like, Lilith was like too strong and independent of a woman, and so then like God got rid of her and replaced her with Eve or something. So it's like whoever came up with it and whoever like left it out, it's like you kind of figure out like what was going on in the backstory there. But she was like the so you see her brought up every now and then as like a counter argument to certain. You would see it in I want to say in the 90s or something like kind of as a counterpoint to certain things said by like Christian culture, for example. So, yeah, so that's kind of been a popular apocryphal biblical story for a while, and that's what this is about apparently. So
yeah, the lyrics are intense.
Yeah. Winona went into it much better, gave a much better description on, I think, our most recent VKH breakdown. So, yeah. All right. So, next one is, and we're really coming up on the end here. So, is Lamia with Puppet. Is this PV? And I'm actually kind of surprised. These guys have really taken off quite a bit. They're at like 89,000 views. This is the one. I don't know if you've seen this, Ruvav. If this looks familiar, you'll know it if you've seen it. But yeah, it's very. Oh, I just saw your message.
No, I don't think I've seen this.
You haven't seen this?
I don't think so. That room looks familiar though.
I want to say Anfiel's like done a PV in there before.
Yeah.
Winona was very interested and also amused in this band, and particularly this PV, because like she couldn't tell she thought it was like, you know, pretty catchy stuff, you know, pretty put together for like, you know, such a new band, but at the same time she couldn't tell if, let me see if I can find it, if in the chorus, when the vocalist, the way he moves one of his arms, if he's like just very awkward with his body motion, or if he's trying to be a puppet, like how the video is. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, considering it's Marionette Overture, probably yes.
I mean, you never know.
Just probably.
Well, because it's like, look what he's doing. He's like doing like the same general weird gesture on repeat. I don't know.
Yes, it's on purpose.
Yeah, you see. Oh, is it? What a convenient artistic excuse. It's on purpose.
I mean, what else could it be?
That's my devil's advocate. You know, it's like, is it really? It's on purpose. Like the artistic person just claimed it's on purpose. Just it's a good little duck. You can't do that as an engineer. You know.
Yeah. See, I'm from the artist side, so I can tell you they're probably like, how can I make my actions more like a puppet? Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, then good. Then I guess that settles that.
Unless he did a
I
bad
guess I'll
job,
buy
or
that.
he did a bad job.
I guess I'll buy that. No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. It's like, if I was an artist, I'm imagining myself being like, oh, that weird twitch I had, that was like part of the art. Like, so you can't like hate on that.
Yes.
So, Lauren says, seen lots of buzz for this PV. Yeah, very surprised at how popular it got. So,
Nice hair.
yes. Next is Bless This Mess. And I will never not recommend this band. This is definitely a new band. I never thought I would be a huge fan of a Starwave Records band. No offense to well, I mean, to anybody.
You just offended.
Yeah, so, well, fine, offense then. But like, I just they've never been my thing, and this band is my thing. They have a full album out, and it's excellent. They have a single out, and it's pretty good, I guess. From what I've heard, this is the PV from Mirror Mirror. They kind of sound like I guess if the Gazette did a redo in 2018 as an indie band, but like with their own kind of take on it, I guess. I don't know. I guess I compare them to the Gazette because they were shockingly diverse on that album for such a new band. Like the PV promoting their album is called Lunar Regret, and it's a full-fledged ballad, you know, and so it's like you're kind of like, oh, okay, so this is like going to be like a slow song kind of band just because they went so hard into it. And then you go and you listen to the album, and it's like, oh no, they start with like a banger, and then they go into this kind of a sound and this kind of a sound, and it's very much along the lines of like the melodic rock, hard rock line that the Gazette, you know, straddled for so long, like back in the day, at least, like when they first went major. But it's very good. Like for such a new band, you know, very, very impressive. Asuka says Schwartz Kane was a Starwave Records band, right? They might have. Were they? If they were, I'm impressed. Again.
I'm searching.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it looked. Well, wait.
Googling. Can't Google fast enough.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I don't. That's hard to tell. This band does sound good though.
Bless This Mess?
Yeah, bless
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, we weren't expecting that this year. James and I, in particular. James raised it to me, and I listened to it. I was like, this is not the kind of band we expect.
He's definitely copying Rookie's vocals, like very obviously.
Yeah, he's got the like the growl, shout growl kind of thing going on, right?
His phrasing and just wow. Simmer down there.
What?
The vocalist needs to simmer down a little.
Oh, in terms of the yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's not like it's not like Rookie does it anymore. Like Rookie's moved full on to like his crazy ass metal screams, his goth metal screams and shit like that. You know, it's like
yeah, but it's very like signature and obvious. You know, so
I don't know. You're talking to someone who listened to Slipknot before he listened to Visual K, so you know. You gotta pass that baton along at some point to somebody else. Okay, so next one is Baby Kingdom, which you could definitely argue is like maybe not a baby band because they've been around since 2013 technically, and I don't know, like they changed their name in 2016, and then I think their concept changed a lot along with that. But it's my stream, and Winona is definitely okay with this, and I'm putting it on here anyway. Also, I think they're actually surprisingly underrated. They would fall into parody K, I think, as you can kind of tell from the general way they're acting in this video, and all of their videos really. They are actually very good though, and the reason I throw them in the parody K category is because they are very good at trying on different styles of looks and sounds. So you know they've kind of acted like a Kiryu parody. They've acted like a Kira Kira parody. They've acted like an Oshari K parody. But then the music itself is actually really solid. It's very shockingly solid, and it's also very upbeat, and it's very amusing and funny, and it's just a really good time.
Wow. This is.
Yeah, so it's I've definitely put it out there. It's definitely worth getting into. I actually haven't heard this song from this PV that's playing, so I can't vouch for this one specifically, but for like for the stuff they've been putting out, I was like, all right, this is pretty impressive. We did a pretty thorough dissection of them too on our last the most recent podcast we did. Also, Lauren says, did LA Bash All the Emotions just sign to Starwave? Can't remember. Yeah, I believe they did, which is we'll see. We'll just see with that band, like, because that band is like, Winona hit the nail on the head when she said LA Bait is like the opposite of Monstelo, and that they put all of their money into like their visuals and none of the money into their music. But it's like you can tell that the music could be like good sounding, because as what is it, as abrasive, you know, as their sound is, it still gets stuck in your head, and it's like, I don't know how that happens, but everybody seems to say that in one way or another. We'll cover them later at a later date. They're not quite. They're definitely not on your radar, Bob, and I'm not sure if we should have them on our radar yet, to be completely honest. But yeah. So next one is 0 Hertz. I think this one's just worth bringing up, just because I think a lot of people used to be into Lawn Boy, and so this is Lawn Boy. It's all the members of Lawn Boy. They're back, and they are as 0 Hertz, and they seem to be taking like an edgier visual and musical style. It's nothing radical, you know. It's not like a radical departure, but it's different. I thought Lawn Boy was fairly uninteresting personally, in terms of like what I was like. You know, it sounded like it looked and sounded the same to me as like the last band that they had tried to have on BP Records that also like disbanded or went on hiatus, and the fact that I can't remember the name is kind of a statement in and of itself. But but I thought Lawn Boy did like a better job of it at least. But now they've come back and they're kind of, you know, they're doing a different take. If I search 0 Hertz, I wouldn't get a band in my search results. Yeah, that's that good old Japanese band names SEO for you. But yeah, definitely worth looking into, just in case anybody wasn't aware that the Lawn Boy band members are back and still on BP Records. They're just under a new name, and they sound different now. So
it's a new band.
I guess they sound a little different, I should say, I suppose. Like, yeah. So, next up is NOLA. We've talked about this band before. The easiest way I can describe them is, like, if they're basically like if Avanchik like forgot to take their meds, you know, like they're just like a really crazy symphonic metal a little bit. It's pretty symphonic. It's like Avanchik's like symphonic metal formula that they kind of had, where they were kind of like mainstreaming it a little bit, but then like they just take it and they just go really bizarre and intense and crazy with it. And it's like the PV's even shot in a similar setting, and the costumes look a little similar and stuff, but it's like they have a much more demented side to them. I'm hesitant in recommending them anymore because they are at a state where all of the members except the vocalist have left the band. So we'll see, but I liked this song a lot, and you know, I clearly wasn't the only one. This came out this time last year, and it's at 188,000 views. You know, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think I had a couple more. No, I think that was yeah, Winona had added a few for me to talk about. But I didn't have them queued up, unfortunately.
Oh,
I don't know.
cool.
Yeah, I think we're good for now. We've been going long enough, so yeah. So that's a good overview of everything. We can do one quick addendum since we've got Rubab here for Acme. Do you want to talk about what's it called?
Zeshooka.
Zeshooka?
Yeah, good job. You did it.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Like, okay, this video's been up for less than an hour. It's already got a few hundred views.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, very nice. Maybe I won't play the whole. Since it's
There it
so
is,
new.
the one on the left with the purple. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna play the preview just since it's so new.
Oh, the preview?
Do you
Okay.
do you want me to have? Well, just so they can go watch the full thing with the sound and everything on. Oh, but you know what? Let me grab the link for it and put it in the description. Yeah, you don't want their first time watching it to be with the commentary over it. Like, well guys, go
Sure.
watch the video.
Yeah. It's really pretty.
Yeah. Let me
I got to see this track. They performed it live in Japan when I was out there, so I got to see them play it a few times, and I really liked it live. And I didn't expect the video to be this colorful, so it was really exciting to see.
Yeah, I was really when I saw this preview, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm really glad I identified them as a as an extra K band. Like, let me see if I could just like run through a couple of the just it's so sparkly and colorful, and like, you know, with Rotten Orange it was like I wasn't sure, you know, like if you know, if they were gonna stick with that, but it's like just like pick a frame, you know. Like it's just like all the colors, all the all the glitter, you know, it's done really well. You know, the slickness is really that's what's really working out. That's what's really like improved over the last few singles, is there is a sleekness to the visuals, right? You got bubbles.
I love the production in this video. I believe they did use similar. It was, I think they were mentioning that it was about same production company they used for some of the dive work that they've done. So definitely a high quality company helped them with the production, and I think like it was worth it. It came out really great. They have a lot of imagery from traditional Japanese scenes in here. The lyrics are about folklore as well, so it's very nice, like refreshing change from all of the like dark and heavy bands out there that are releasing like such dark music videos lately.
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, maybe this will be the response to that response. So yeah, definitely check that out, guys, if you haven't. I did just update the description with it, so but yeah, I think this is a good place to stop, though, because we have been going for quite a while.
A while.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, if you know, I was prepared for this one to go a while, so
Yes.
but
This
yeah,
is fun.
so yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, Rubab, and thanks to Winona, who is not here, but who hung in there as long as she could, and thanks to Lori for setting some time aside as well, and thank you, chat, for coming out and watching. And if you have any personal recommendations for baby bands or young bands, or if you have a better idea for what you think baby bands should be called, or if you think there's another name for, you know, that could be used for what we colloquially call baby bands sometimes, you know, since it's you know, everyone's got a different idea. Any thoughts like that at all, leave it as a comment on the video, and we will we'll read them and we'll check them out. But
Yeah.
Well, Rubab, do you have anything you want to plug real quick at the last second, or did we just do it?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we just did it, but yeah, I really liked checking out some new music this time. I think it would be great to come back again and revisit some of these bands and see how they're doing.
Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that for sure. Yeah, and I won't have to remember it because I've got it written down already, and it's also on recording. Yeah, this will be good. Yeah.
Well,
how about
thanks
that?
for having me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Thanks, guys. Bye.